Good evening. Welcome to another edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show, Red Pill Edition. My name is Leon Jones, and I hope everybody is enjoying their day. It is a good 19 degrees here in the state of Indiana. In fact, as I said, and shout out to brother Little Big Nate, told him we were going to get some snow, and we got about a foot of snow. And I believe we have more coming. This is the winters here in the state of Indiana. Hey, Celine, how you doing? Welcome. Good evening, Sharita. How are you doing? Now, again, I just want to say welcome all to this Friday edition. I'm going to try to keep my monologue as brief as possible. And yep, we were preparing for the snowstorm. It's nothing here. It's what we get. I know you all probably got some snow up there too as well, Celine. We're doing well here. It's just it's wintertime, and I tell you, it doesn't bother me. Love it. Good football weather. I love all four seasons, and February is usually our worst month. Now, today, I just want to jump into something. And I'm going to talk about a social issue. Yes, it's Black History Month. I'm not going to do too much talking about Black History Month. I did that in the past. I didn't get too many people showing up in the audience. But what I'm going to do tonight is piggyback off of the last two live streams that I did. And again, the first one, I piggybacked off of Brother Xavier for the amount of money that is spent in the Black church every year. And then I talked about is family overrated? Because you have a lot of money that goes in and out of families. Now, tonight, I want to talk about where do African Americans spend most of their money? Where do African Americans spend most of their money? That's a question because, again, every African American doesn't spend their money the same way. In fact, the population of African Americans basically resides in the urban area. Now, in the urban area, there are a lot of opportunities where you can spend money. But as I put in my poll, it is a loaded question. You can answer that poll. When it comes to spending money in the African American community, do we think about the future or do we just think about now? Now, that's a two-part question. And I made it that way because I want you all to think. Because when it comes to money in the African American community, there's not a lot of turnover because there aren't a lot of African American businesses. Now, they do exist. There are some small pockets. But economically, we are consumers. And I thought about this when it came to how much money we really have. We as African Americans, and I'm using African American politically correctly here on YouTube, we have a lot of money. I don't care if you're low income, middle class, or even upper income. $1.2 trillion a year we spend on tangible items. Now, when it comes to the African American community, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen from an article that I got, and it's called Money. Of course, when we deal with money, and I'm going to bring it back, and this is coming from an article by, of course, what is his name? Gary Johnson. Now, it's been running for a while, but it is still running right now. And this article is where I decided to come up with a topic for my live stream tonight. Again, how Black people spend their money has been a hotly or highly debated topic, not only, of course, here in the Manosphere, but in the office, social events, and of course in beauty and barbershops across America. Now, again, the Nielsen Company issued a report last year entitled "It's in the Bag: Black Consumers' Path to Purchase," found that spending by Black consumers is especially influenced, of course, by advertising. Now, the report found that Black folks love to spend money on beauty and grooming products, shelling out about $574 million annually for soaps and, of course, bath needs. Now, that was about 19% higher than any other demographic. So, when it comes to Black consumers, they like to spend money at high end department stores, with 63% of Black folks saying in a survey that they buy from Saks of Fifth Avenue. Now, I'm going to say that the survey taken was very, very small. I mean, 63% of, of Black Americans, which you have a, well, 63 surveyed. You really can't look at that survey because, for the most part, when it comes to men, Black men, we don't shop for the most part at Saks of Fifth Avenue, Dillard's, Macy's. We don't do that. Mostly the Black women do. And of course, when it comes to spending, they tend to spend more money than, of course, African American men. Now, again, the article states that more than half, which is 52% of African Americans, find in-store shopping relaxing compared with 26% of the total population. And of course, 55% of Black consumers say they enjoy wandering the store looking for new, interesting products. Now, the Nielsen report found when shopping, African Americans are more influenced than the total population by store staff, which states 34% more likely, in-store advertising 28% more likely, and of course, merchandising 27% more likely. Black folks accounted for almost 90% of all spending in the beauty supply industry. Black consumers are also influenced by celebrities. If a celebrity designs a product, Blacks are more likely to buy. Facts. And on the man's side, salute, brother Angry Snowman. Welcome to the chat. From the male side, I will tell you this: there are a number of Black men or young Black men, particularly in the urban areas, who actually own a pair of Jordans. I do not own a pair of Jordans. I will not spend $300 for a pair of tennis shoes. So, putting all that together, what does it really mean? Well, according to the Nielsen Company research, Black consumers are speaking directly to brands in unprecedented ways and achieving headline making results. Through social media, Black consumers have brokered a seat at the table and are more demanding that brands and marketers speak to them in ways that resonate culturally and experimentally. Now, these brands want their businesses, and with African Americans spending $1.2 trillion annually, brands have a lot to lose. Now, the research shows that Black consumer choices have a core factor, that it was created by a halo effect, influencing not just consumers of color, but the mainstream as well. Now, these figures show the investment by multinational conglomerates in R&D. R&D stands for research and development, to develop products and marketing that appeal to diverse consumers is indeed paying off handsomely. Now, generally speaking, Black folk are still living for the moment with a to hell with the future mindset when it comes to money. Too many Black folks tend to worry about themselves and the money that they have now. That way of thinking is crippling, and it definitely should stop. Now, a common scenario for many Black folk when they get a huge chunk of money, or we know it now, tax refunds, what they do, they turn to the nearest appliance store, high-end mall, or car dealer. According to the State of Working America, Black people spend 4% more money annually than any other race, despite the fact that they are the least represented and the race that lives in poverty at the highest rate. So, if current economic trends continue, the average Black household will need 228 years to accumulate as much wealth as their white counterparts hold today. For the average Latino family, it will take 84 years. Absent significant policy interventions or a seismic change in the American economy, people of color will never close the gap. Well, I do believe that. Hey, what's going on, Cold Hard Truth? Welcome to the channel. Now, when it comes to Black dollars, there is a breakdown. And of course, the breakdown when it comes to Black dollars, now this is in millions now. Of course, this chart, here's where a lot of our money is going. Ethnic and beauty aids, 54.4 million. Women's fragrances, 152 million. Feminine hygiene, men's toiletries, personal soap and bath needs. I mean, these numbers are very, very huge. Now, some of them are needed, particularly health and beauty, and of course, food. But there's one thing that's missing off of this list. Two things missing off of this list. And the two things I find that are missing off of this list are, what about alcohol, cigarettes, and what about the tithes in church? Now, again, I'm only looking at data taken by the Nielsen research. It is a small sample. And again, I don't really like putting out a lot of data out there because to me, you can skew data to basically agree with your narrative. However, in the real world, when it comes to spending money, we do spend a lot of money. And we spend a lot of money on tangible items. And I see the women spend it more than men. I mean, education, I'm not going to say that is not a bad item. However, when you go to school for a degree and you major in something that's not marketable, you're going to end up with a lot of debt. So you're not going to get an ROI, a return on your investment. This is why degrees in feminist studies, LGBTQ studies, religious studies, sociology, and now they will be good if you're going to go to law school. But if you're not going to go to law school, those degrees are going to get you a $30,000 or $40,000 a year job. Now, again, I'm sticking to the data right now. Like I said, I don't like to utilize data when I don't know where the consulting company got the survey from, but I'll just stick to the data right now. And then I'll look at what I see in real life. Now, when I go to a lot of urban areas, whether it's Chicago or Indianapolis or Columbus, Ohio, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Richmond, Virginia, or even Atlanta, whether the area is low income or high income, I still see consumerism when it comes to African American people. And what's really bad about that is you have other demographics that will come in to African American neighborhoods, utilize African Americans' money, they'll take it back to their community. Now, capitalism is good. However, the money is not turning over to African Americans in their neighborhood. I mean, you have to ask yourself a question: what happens when African American men and women go to church? Where does that money actually go? I mean, I realize you have to keep up with the building. You have deacons, bishops, you have pastors, you have a number of individuals with medium-sized to large churches, depending on the location of the church. But you have a number of individuals out here who don't invest their money into the stock market, 401k plans, which I believe 401k plans are going out the door anyway. A lot of jobs still offer them, but you also have to watch out when it comes to markets. Now, I'm just going to say this too, when it comes to African Americans. Do we really trust banks? Now, me, I don't trust a bank. In fact, the last bank I was a part of, it was M&T Bank. Now, the problem I had with M&T Bank is you had to keep a certain amount of money in your bank account. And if you didn't, the bank would charge you 50%. Correction, $50. So if I had to keep $250 a minimum in my bank account, and then I went to draw $50 out, now I have $200. And if I don't put that $50 back in the bank, and this is how M&T Bank used to work. I don't know how they work now. Well, M&T Bank is going to charge me $50. Now, another thing that we have a problem with, credit issues. Many of us don't have good credit. We don't understand credit. We don't understand financing. And with a number of African Americans, many of us understand cash. If you look at all of the urban areas, many of them have a lot of check cashing places. And when you go and cash a check, some of these check cashing places are going to charge you 2% based on what the dollar amount is. But again, you look at how much we spend on alcohol and tobacco products. Salute to you, brother Deshaun. Welcome to the chat. Again, what I'm doing a monologue on what African Americans spend their money on. Now, I do have a poll question. Do we have in the current mindset, or do we believe in investing? And also, I did something else that a number of YouTubers don't do. In the chat, before I started broadcasting today, I found channels that I'm subscribed to, like I'm subscribed to Celine's. Everybody subscribe to Celine's channel. I put the link to her channel in the chat at the beginning. The Clue channel, I put in the chat as well. The Awesome Alice, Latin Patriot, Red Pill Rage, Angry Snowman. I also put your channel in as well because I want everybody to support these smaller channels because there's a lot of information that is very important because I don't have all the answers. Again, I'm raising this topic about black folk money because there are a number of us who claim that we don't have money. Well, we do have money. We just don't manage our money properly. And the problem with buying too many tangible goods out here is you don't know what the worth of these tangible goods are going to be in the future. And see, with black folk, some of us have an idea of how the stock market works, but most of us don't. We go to work every day. We live from payday to payday. But many of us, we really spend our money on items we don't need. And usually when that happens, we don't have any money for a rainy day. Now, again, when it comes to spending money, now let me show you another chart here that I saw that I'm going to scroll down when it comes to building wealth. And according to this chart here, we as African Americans, we really lag when it comes to building wealth. And of course, when you don't have money, you really can't build wealth. But if you look at where we are, according to this bar chart, we're behind Hispanics. But you look at where white folk are. Now, again, even though the data is clear that blacks and Hispanics are behind, you also have to look at the population. Whites are about 60% of the population. Now, that being said, though, again, and here's why I'm going to explain what I see in these statistics and why they're flawed. Well, in reality, you got to look at raw numbers. Okay, white folk are the greater the population. They actually spend more money because they make more money, but they created a system so they can invest money. Shout out to you, antisocial socialite. Welcome. Black men need to mobilize and separate from black women because black women and women in general are not equipped to teach financial skills. Wow. May have to come up there on the panel, explain that to me, antisocial socialite. I'll drop the link. Now that, I mean, there is some facts behind that, but definitely come on up here on the panel. I'm going to, when I drop the link, and I definitely want to hear your story about that because not too many people would say that, but it is true. This is why we have bad credit. This is why many of us have poor money management. Many of us believe in buying, and this is just my humble opinion, buying tangible goods for social status. So it makes us feel good to buy a BMW, although we can't afford a BMW. And in some of the cars that are being bought, they're leased. So we really don't own a car. In fact, I will say this about a car. A car is a bad investment. And here's why a car is a bad investment. Okay, you go ahead and purchase a car. You may get a 5-year loan on a car and you'll get a warranty. Well, you can get a 5-year warranty on a loan, on a car along with your loan. But with that warranty, it may say 5 years or 50,000 miles. So if you drive 50,000 miles before your 5 years are up, your warranty is gone. Now you can buy extended warranties. This is what black folk aren't told. You can also buy a car, a decent used car. Put enough money down, go get a used car, make the payments, and it's yours to keep. You don't need a brand new car. Again, you have to have a car to get around. I understand that. I'm gonna go ahead again, drop the link. If anybody wants to come up on the panel, because I don't want to be on the monologue too long. I mean, it is Friday night, and I appreciate everybody for coming up here this Friday night to hear me speak about where our money is going. And I want you all to check the poll out. I got one vote in there, and you have to really read the question. And I'll go over the question again. In the poll, I did take a poll. Do blacks think about the future or live in the moment when it comes to money? Now, you have to take that question and basically break it down into two questions. And then you make up your mind. Right now, I have 7 votes. 43% say yes, blacks live in the moment. They don't think about the future. Or 57% said no, they don't live for the moment. However you want to spin that question. But overall, when it comes to money, I just believe that we are bad money managers. Good evening, Antisocial. How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
All right. Yeah, you came up with a hard-hitting comment already about we need to mobilize and separate from black women. I'm like, wow, you sound like pink pill lessons there. Definitely explain that to me. I didn't see
So,
that one coming.
yeah, so salute to everybody in the chat. This is really my mantra. I did a video some time ago talking about, men need to form their own communities and basically separate from black women because I do believe that there's a massive problem with this concept of the gynocracy, gynocratic thinking, gynocentricity, where everything a black man does is connected to somehow pleasing the woman. And I believe that black men in particular are socialized to basically they filter everything they do through the lens of will this garner approval for the woman. Now women can be fickle at best, but the women kind of set you up in a way where it's like they'll say things like we like men because of the way that they can move in the bedroom, but then at the same time they will shame you because the only thing you bring to the table is what you can do in the bedroom, but they were the ones that told you we want you to be skillful in the bedroom, and so you spend more time focusing on that than anybody else. they basically set you on this course where you're just like a dog chasing your own tail. You need to recognize that at the end of the day, masculinity is not tied to the approval of a woman. And so if men can accept that and start thinking about how are my decisions going to impact my future, irrespective of how that's going to affect a woman, people will make better financial decisions, the men at least, because the women are going to do what they want to do because they're incentivized to do it. And so the problem here is often the mother's the first teacher. She's going to impart certain spending mentalities onto her own children. And so in order for things to change in the Black community, men have to separate from women. I know I kind of went round the houses, but that's the crux of the matter. Because the women are not going to do certain things, the men have to, break away from the women, break away from always needing approval from women, or moving in a way where, for example, sagging of the pants, talking a certain way, being preoccupied with swag, getting the latest vehicle and things like this. A lot of this is done to impress females. And although, okay, in the short term, you get a little bit of validation, as you said, for example, a new car is not really an investment, because by the time you finish paying off the vehicle, it's already out of date. Like it's an old
Absolutely.
car. It's not like you paid cash and it was yours. And once you kind of take out like a lease on whatever on the car, you start paying down on it, it's immediately depreciated in value. So why would you spend thousands on a new vehicle when you can get an adequate second-hand vehicle, a used vehicle? It's because you're desperate for the validation of like broke people and women. And now you put yourself in a financial hole trying to impress people that really don't matter. So once men break away from this need to gain validation, it's going to improve the way they move financially.
That's a good point that you made, because if you look at the graph, and I'll blow up the graph here, when it comes to retirement, um, you can see where we are in reference to whites. Now, again, this is America, and it's really hard antisocial to really look at these numbers, because we make up a small portion of the population. So, because when it comes to whites, raw data, more whites are on welfare than blacks. You have more
True.
whites who are living in poverty than blacks. It's just that
True.
you have a lot more upper income whites that actually fill out the whole gamut, and they pay a little bit more taxes. And
True.
a number of them, if you and you live over there in the UK. The UK is just like New York and California and Milan, Italy. It, a lot of whites, upper class whites, go shopping there for their tangible items. However, they do have savings, and if you are in an urban area, particularly here in the United States, most blacks have bad credit.
Mm.
Well, if you look at it now, what's not up here, I'm not saying white folk don't drink either. They do. But any African American neighborhood, urban area, I'm sure you see it over there in the UK, there are a lot of liquor stores,
Yes.
just like churches. Now, there is
Churches and pubs.
churches and there is a lot of money that is going into liquor. And guess what? We don't own any of those liquor stores. When it comes
True.
to hair stores, we don't own any of them. And you cannot have any type of power if you don't have economics. Economic power is what can get you in many opportunities, particularly in the political sector. But you mentioned something about incentivized. Yes, the government is a big incentive for African American women to actually have a lifestyle because they get money for school, they get money for having children, and
Yeah,
tying to what I said last week, I talked about the family. Well, the government is really the big reason why we don't have families,
agreed.
and no matter how much we talk about it, it's never going to come back as long as we have a government that is utilizing the system to split us apart. And a lot of us, we talk about feminism, and I can go another way with feminism because I have another direction I would take on that, and it's not what everybody thinks. It's not about the equality either. Well, I'll talk about that right now while you're up here, since you're good with the social issues. When it came to feminism, as I have done a little research on the topic, it was really about white women having the same type of power as white men. It was just another offshoot of white supremacy. And white women did not want to be behind black men because black men were slaves. In other words, black men had gotten their opportunities to vote just like white women. And if you look at affirmative action here, white women are the beneficiaries of affirmative action. But that being said, again, when it comes to money, a lot of us really don't take money seriously. This is why we're out here robbing and killing. I'm not saying white folk don't do it, but if you look at the news, you look at cities like Memphis and Detroit, and probably over there where you are, there are a lot of violent crimes going on because of money. A number of us don't have money. We don't have businesses, and we're not going to put any businesses in the African American community because the threats of being robbed are very high. Now, I will say this: a number of us are buying houses, but we forget that you got to pay property tax on those houses. And do you really own the house after you pay it off? You own the house, but you don't own the land. You're constantly paying property taxes on it. So you have to keep the house fixed up. There's a lot that goes into money that, and I'm not a financial guru. I'm only giving you the surface, but I'm just looking at what we spend our money on, and it's not helping us. Many of us depend on the Social Security system. Like for me, Social Security is going up from 65 for me to 67, so I can't depend on Social Security. What about you, antisocial? What is social? Did they have Social Security over there in England?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not into finances, so it's funny what I'm saying, but yeah, Social Security, that's not welfare, is it?
No,
You're
so
talking about like government assistance and pension, like state pensions and things like that.
well, Social Security is not. That's something that we're taxed. I know here in America we're taxed up to. It used to be $87,000. It might be more than that now. And after I think it's now after 100 and something $1,000, we don't pay anymore. But I believe we
Oh
pay.
no, we have tax brackets like if you earn under a certain amount, you don't pay tax. And then if you earn from, I think it's like, I'm not sure if it's late teens to maybe like, yeah, but maybe probably late teens to up to 49,000, I think you pay like 40% tax.
Wow,
And
that's
then if you, yeah, and I think it's like if you earn over 50K, then the tax goes up to 50%.
ooh,
So yeah, cost of living is not necessarily high, but the tax is kind of, yeah, you can't like we have the same situation where you own the house, but do you own the land? Sometimes you own one but not the other. So we have that issue here as well. That's why I think a lot of rich people, they don't buy homes. I think a lot of them, it's cheaper to rent because if anything goes wrong with the property, then the landlord is responsible for maintaining it.
Well, I'll try to blow this up, but let me put my glasses back on. Here it yeah, I'm getting a little older there, so sometimes I got to
I can't see either, so it's fine.
right. But now, if you look at this list that I just put up, now I just found it. Now, the research, this is of 42 million blacks. Again, we have a spending power of $1.1 trillion. Now, this is, of course, in America. If you look at this list, and we're part of it, tobacco, $3.3 billion. Whiskey, wine, and beer, $3 billion. Now, if you think about it, those two items alone, what do? They cause lung cancer, cirrhosis of the liver. I mean, these are two areas that we spend a lot of money. And if we do too much of the tobacco smoking and the drinking, we're going to die of something. You look at the non-alcoholic. The non-alcoholic is 2.8 billion. Now, again, when I break that non-alcoholic down, though, what is in that non-alcoholic? See, that's the thing that nobody asked. I guarantee, and this is what happens in the black community. They love buying soda. Soda has a lot of sugar in it, like here, orange, like Fanta and grape. They love buying that because it is very, very high in sugar. It is very high in sugar, and we do. I can see it much better now. We drink a lot of sodas here in America. Leisure time spending, 3.1 billion. Well, that's a big number, but what are we doing with 3.1 billion? Now, again, if I put gender in this, when it comes to leisure, I believe more African American women spend more money on cruises than we do. They do. Healthcare. Healthcare is a big one, 23.6 billion. Now, if you look at that antisocial, that number is big because I guarantee it comes from the first three items: tobacco.
Yeah, that's true.
Whiskey, wine, and beer. This is what people won't tell you. Non-alcoholic. Okay, again, when we deal with non-alcoholic, milkshakes, again, sodas, Kool-Aid, sugary drinks. That's all part of that. And you drink too much of that every day, guess what? You're going to end up with diabetes. That'll put you in the hospital. Telephone services. That's probably cell phone.
Latest iPhone.
Yeah. Well, you do. I've even seen some kids with an iPhone. I have never heard of a 10-year-old. What do they need an iPhone for? But we claim we don't have any money, but this is where we're spending a lot of money. Now again, I'm looking at the dollars, and it says blacks spend their money overwhelmingly with white businesses. With, it should say, yeah, this is what. So you see all this money up here that we are spending. That's not returned to us with white businesses. So we don't have hospitals. Okay, charitable contributions. We may have some charity, but we're sending $17.3 billion to a charity and we don't own it. Gifts. That could be anything.
I noticed there's no weave.
Oh, well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go back. There's a when it comes to
because I know weave is $1 billion alone.
Well, I'm going to go up, and I did see that earlier. There are two lists I've been playing with here. Okay. I didn't mention that, but okay. If you if you go up here and good evening, producer. Welcome to the channel. When you go up to, let me open it up. Ethnic hair and beauty aids.
Hmm.
Right here, it says 54.4 million. Now, attributable to black consumers. Now, you think about this. I guess this is the number right here that's spent overall on beauty products right here. 63 in ethnic and beauty aids, 63.5 million. Well, out of that, we spend 54.4 million, which comes up to 85.65, let's say 86%. So that is a lot of money right there. And when you're talking about the weave, that's where it is in that first in that first row there that I just read to you. And then comes the perfumes. Um, it's funny that you say that because more money is spent on ethnic hair and beauty aids than perfume. We only spend about 22.37%. Now, this is according to this data now on perfumes. And we actually spend even less than that on, well, feminine hygiene. That's even less than women's fragrances. And then again, that's even less than, well, soap is even less than that. So there's something wrong with that. And then we get in there to seafood. And again, if you really want to take a look at the non alcoholic beverages, refrigerated juices and drinks, shelf stable juices and drinks. Spend a lot of money there.
Mm.
A lot of money there. But if you look at the first three numbers, right? Well, first two numbers right here, or the first number right here, that's what you're talking about. That's where the ethnic hair and beauty aids. And guess what? We don't own any of those businesses.
No. And the thing about it is this, the businesses are there, but there just isn't enough like cultural pride or belief in those businesses. And when people go there, also on the other end, the businesses have to give us good customer service and value for money.
Oh,
And
you stepping into something. I know. Customer
we got to
service.
talk about how some of these businesses have been there for a while and they haven't evolved. You go in and the people behind the counter look at you like you shouldn't be there, and so
Are you talking
it,
about? And I've seen it in Walmart, where when I go into a Walmart and it's in an urban neighborhood, I don't get good customer service. The store isn't clean. I've walked in, the bathrooms were dirty.
mm-mm.
You can't ask a question. They don't. It's like they don't want to help you. I know I went to a Walmart one time down in Indianapolis and was looking for some cookware, and I said, "Well, let me find it myself," because the person wanted to leave. They didn't want to show me. This was about 4 or 5 years ago. So I and it's not that I don't believe in supporting the community. Some call it the communita. I It's the community, but and I hate to say it, we there's really nothing we could do about it unless we change the mindset. We're always, for the most part, we're always going to be at the bottom, and many of us don't want to change because we're comfortable being at the bottom.
Yeah, one of the biggest problems is um wanting to build something in the Black community is not the issue. The problem is you have to understand business. For example, there's lots of things in China, and I kind of used this example because I was having a debate with somebody on Twitter about this, and I used the same example. Like, you cannot just say there's no money in the black community, because a lot of money leaves the black community. And I said, like, do you know how much we spend on hair, wigs, and weave? And I was saying, like, when you look at places like Taiwan or China, whatever, some of these places produce a lot of stuff that they don't use. It's just not part of their culture, but they don't care about that. They understand, if we're going to bring money from around the world into this country, we need to export things that they're going to want. And so black people have to have the same mentality, that if we're going to produce a business, it's not relevant whether it only serves black people. We need to create businesses that are, beneficial to all people. And so, yeah, you have people who will set up mini marts and things. We have the Asian corner shop is a staple here as well, but we don't have as many, I think, issues with people in the corner shops as maybe in the States, because we don't have guns. Guns are not really free flowing like that here in the UK.
Right.
And
I
so,
understand.
yeah, so it's a little bit safer to have a corner store maybe here than in a very urban part of America. But it's still an issue if you're in a rough neighborhood, okay? Or a petrol station. Petrol stations are problematic, okay? You can't go into the petrol station at night because it's
Oh,
locked.
that's true. Now I was looking at something, if I can find it, about uh, money turnover, and that's the biggest thing. And I'm going to scroll down, and like I said, I'm only using one monitor, so just bear with me. Um,
Mm,
and here's here is, and I'll put it up, some numbers that, and this is just, again, total annual expenditures. Now, they broke it down between low income blacks, high income blacks, and all blacks.
mm,
And these numbers, now these look like, I'm going to say this is an average. Okay. Now, if this is an average, if you look at the high income blacks, looking at tobacco and smoking supplies, and then you're looking at low income blacks, tobacco, it's higher. And there's a reason, because you have more cigarette places, more areas that sell lottery tickets in the poor areas than you do in the non-poor areas or in the suburbs. Um, Again, education. Spend a lot of money on education. Now, I don't know what the units of the dollars are. I don't know if they're billions, but I'm just going to look at it as being an average. That's why, again, I'm only looking at numbers, and these numbers have been updated, but this looks like an average right here.
mm.
And I wish they could have given me some. I wish I could have found some raw data. But there's another chart that I was looking for, and was telling us about turnover. Uh, what I mean, how money turns over. Okay, here's a good chart right here. That this is expected expenditures. Now this goes back to 2009 by black folk, I am putting some numbers up, but the figure I want you to look at is, look at this one: beverages, alcoholic. Again, $3 billion. This breaks down that chart I gave you. $3 billion
Mm.
in alcohol. Now, this was back in 2009, that was spent by black people. Apparel, clothes, 29.3 billion. So we do 7.5 billion on education. Now food, okay, it says 65.2 billion, but what kind of food are they buying? That's you break that down. Are they buying Kentucky Fried Chicken, Popeyes chicken, Church's chicken? Because in the African American community, I see a lot of those greasy restaurants, greasy Chinese restaurants, and all you're
Yeah,
doing is you're basically eating your way to clogged arteries. Yeah, the food is good. And this is why I always say you should learn how to cook at home because you don't know what you're getting when you go out. You don't know how long the food has been sitting there because
true.
some of this food sits there for a long time. Salute, Brother Free Zone. And Brother Free Zone, I put your channel and I put, of course, Anti-Socialite. I did it for you as well in the
Thank
chat.
you.
So uh, go ahead and subscribe to the Anti-Social Socialite podcast and Brother Free Zone Lou. The link is already up for anybody that wants to come up. And we're talking about how black folk spend their money. Now, again, I'll put the topic out there. It's not whether you agree with it or disagree with it. It's just a discussion. And I just want to see where everybody's minds are when it comes to how we spend money. Now, of course, all of us don't have the same needs, wants, and desires. However, what I'm seeing when it comes to the way we spend money, we're not really investing money in anything that's going to be, I call it substantial, that we can actually pass down to the next generation because other generations, they didn't pass anything down. In fact, they wanted us to go get an education, go get a job, to work for somebody. Well, that played out in the 80s and the 90s. That doesn't work anymore. You have to be able to establish your own income. And I always say this too: if you have a job, make sure you have a secondary income as well, because today they'll get you on board and they'll fire you as fast as they get you. A lot of us don't think
True.
about having. A lot of us don't think about having a second income. A lot of us believe that we can be comfortable on a job, and on a job you take a lot of nonsense, a lot of politics, and today they love to get rid of you. This is why you need to have something in the bank for a rainy day, and we don't think about that. That's why I brought the topic up. But going back to the churches, we'll spend money on faith. In other words, we're making everybody else rich but ourselves. That's why I brought the topic up.
Yeah, it's a good topic, and it's important to understand that we have to be cultured with the mentality to spend money the right way. And it kind of goes back to childhood and what I was saying about, mothers are the first teachers. What do they instill in their children as a priority? Do they see their parents being, or their parents or parent prioritizing, entertainment and fun, or do they see them working and basically not being excited about money? What I mean by that is I had a friend, she came from Eastern Europe. She said her father ran a business, like a shop.
Right?
And so he was always counting money on the table. So when she sees a lot of money, it's not like a big deal for her. She's used to seeing large sums of cash, having to count it, take it to the bank. And unfortunately, because a lot of us, we have that, as you did the poll earlier about the mentality, do we think long term? Unfortunately, I do believe that we are socialized to be very short term focused and instant gratification focused. And so, giving some money to the church makes you feel good. Buying a new garment because that's the latest thing on trend. We know Black people watch the most TV, and we know that obviously a lot of the imagery that is pushed to Black people is not positive. It's not conducive to being financially responsible. It's not conducive to stability. It actually trains you to be a consumer.
Right.
Other groups don't work like this. They are more future orientated. It's normal for them to talk about spending, banking, seeing people running businesses. And so because we just typically don't seem to have that culture, we are consumers by nature. And that means that we make everybody else rich, even if a lot of money comes into the Black community. most of it is leaving. Probably more is leaving than coming in because we're going into debt, taking out loans and things like this. And so
Right. And I like to say a salute to brother Nate. Hey, I dropped the
shout out to
link,
Nate.
brother Nate. Yep. And I've already spammed your channel down there, brother Nate. I spam, like I said, I spam yours as well. Antisocial. I spam Celine's. Everybody that I listen to, I spam earlier. Click on the links and support their channels. Everybody that comes in my audience who has a channel, they give good information, and we want to keep this good information. Uh, Nate is cooking. Here's what I wanted to show you too: how money
Mm,
circulates. Okay, now if you look at the money in the black community, it circulates pretty good. 6 hours. That means the money is turning over, but it's not turning over to us. It's going out of the community.
mm,
I mean, because we don't have businesses there. Now it's
yeah.
17 days in the white community, but they're already established. The Jewish
Mm-hmm.
community and the Asian community, they're already established. You know,
Mm,
we're not. And also when it comes to business, we do have some businesses anti-socialite, but the types of businesses we have, they're not conducive to, I'm going to say, grocery stores, infrastructure.
mm,
Mostly what we own barbershops and
yeah.
we own beauty salons. Not saying
Beauty
we don't
salon.
need them,
Mm,
but in order to get us established and for us to have some credit, we need to understand banking. We don't have a lot of black banks out there. Now, there are some, but they're not enough. Brother Nate says, yeah, in the 30s, the black dollar spent 3 to 5 years in the black community. That's fact. And we had restaurants. We don't really have anything that makes us want to compete for money. Now, I believe
mm,
in capitalism, but too many of us are actually comfortable spending money. But the bottom line, and here's something that is going to be coming to fruition because we don't own it. Just like Nate said, there are 18 black banks in the US. 18. That's terrible. 18 black banks. But here's something. Um, Most of us over here don't know how to do taxes. So what we'll do, we'll go to H&R Block, Jackson Hewitt. Now, a number of course, the women, they get large tax returns. And
mm.
I'm going to start seeing commercials where you can spend your tax return on us. A lot of car commercials come on television here. Well,
Yeah.
because here, and the women get large tax refund checks. Now, the only way a man can get large refunds is he has to have itemized deductions, and most of us don't. We use the standard deduction, and many of us, if we're lucky, will get maybe 1,000, maybe $3,000 back. We don't get $9,000 back. We're not that lucky. But even when we get a large sum of money, it's like we never had money in our lives. So what we do, we will go eat the money up
It's true.
and not think about tomorrow. And that's why I put that question up there in the poll. Yeah, it's loaded. I mean, because are we good with money? Most of us aren't. We don't understand how the credit system works. We don't understand that you have to have a certain credit score to get low interest rates. I don't know if they have it over there in the UK, but there are a lot of check cashing places here.
Oh
And
yeah, we had a massive problem with that. Payday loans and even
okay,
even the loan shark still exists in some places. It's crazy. But the
Wow.
payday loan was crazy. Yeah, a lot of people getting into trouble with that payday loan business.
Shout out to brother Sam Abdul. Point blank, as a whole, black folks live in a moment too much. We spend too much dollars on clothes, cars, and dining out. We would rather look swell than have wealth. Oh, that's a fact. That's a fact. I did
Fact.
drop the link, Osama. If you want to come on up there, definitely come on up there and explain that, because that's a good point. And
And
again,
what I wanted to say about the money circulating, we have to remember that for people who are like Jewish and Asian, they have an entire culture. A lot of them, they have dietary requirements, requirements, and because they still have their culture, it creates an ecosystem for them to function within. Because I've been to Jewish communities like ultra Orthodox and Orthodox communities. I've been to very highly populated Asian communities, and it's like you step off the bus or the train, and you feel like you walked into Israel or like Pakistan or something. It's like everywhere you look, there's sari shops, halal butchers, centers for Bengali center or Somali center, or they have their entire community for the food, for the drink, for the clothes. And I don't know about over there. We have a lot of these diner like places. They started like an American diner. They're called like creams, where you have ice cream and milkshake. And it's like American diners with the burgers. But they're all Muslim, they're all halal. Okay. And so we go there, whether we're Muslim or not. A lot of us go for the funky milkshakes and the Knickerbocker glories and everything. But we are bringing money into their community, and they're opening franchises all over the place. I've seen Jewish shops selling sushi, like kosher sushi, because
wow.
even, yeah, for Jewish people, even fish has to be kosher. And so they have kosher kebab places, kosher sushi bars, milkshake, kosher pizzerias. They make sure that they provide their community with everything it needs. But obviously, if you're in that area and you're hungry, you're gonna go in and buy as well. So they understand, like there's a reason why for Jews and Asians the money's going to circulate more, because they have these requirements that they want to stick to, so they kind of forced to shop from each other.
And,
But even beyond that, they're savvy enough to understand my money as a non-Jew is still legal money. So if I can
absolutely.
yeah, if I can provide a service that you're going to buy, let's do it, because we want the heathens money.
Right. And, like producer says, a lot of us don't have money sense, period. Facts. Um, she had to learn money management. But my boy Osama, he says also, when you go to a Jewish neighborhood, you see very, very few luxury cars. He was in Lakewood, New Jersey, which is 75% Hasidic, just a few months ago, and saw no luxury cars, mostly minivans. And see, we're
Yeah.
all caught, you notice something, okay? We're caught up in trying to be something we're not. I mean, we're buying the best. It's nothing wrong with looking good. Now, when I go out every day, I dress casual. And well, especially here in wintertime when we just got a foot of snow the other day. I'm not putting on a suit going out in a foot of snow.
Yeah,
But
of course.
many of us, um, I don't know, does it and I'm trying to how can I don't want to use the word spend. I'm trying to say this in a way that I don't sound offensive, but I'm just going to put it out there like this. Many of us, we're not being ourselves. Uh, we're too influenced by celebrities. We're too influenced by social media,
Mm,
advertisements, what we see on TV. And in the end, we want to mimic what we see instead of looking at the real world. Oh, I hear you, brother Nate. I hear you. Come on out here to Indiana. Get good weather out here. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. We got uh, yesterday and the day before we got some snow, and I had to clean two cars off. But that's but we never prepare for tomorrow. That's our problem. We
I call it cultural gaslighting. You know, unfortunately, I feel like we've been reverse engineered to prize up and value things that are not valuable, and the things that actually are valuable, we're taught to disdain. For example, somebody who is educated and book smart, that person is called a nerd. I mean, we're the only group of people that would call somebody who is, who loves to study a lame. Like, what do you know? Do you know what a word the lame like the word lame actually means? It's like cripple, or you can't really function, or you got some kind of deformity. Like, it's something that would be considered bad. And so we shame each other for the things that actually could help us grow, and the things that are superficial, these are the things we call valuable. And so you kind of, if you don't separate yourself, you can become carried along in the crowd that's telling you these things are really important. So when you, like you said, you see 10-year-olds with iPhones, but that's because their peers have iPhones, and their parents think it's cool and it's important that the child has the latest mobile. And then everybody's being pressured, kind of thing, into moving a certain way. So it's a sad state of affairs that black people are often the opposite of what a lot of other cultures are doing. And like you said, like I've seen it. I've been to these Jewish areas. Everyone's driving Toyota minivans because they've got so many children. They
I,
can't have a regular vehicle, large Volvos and Toyota minivans. But they don't care because they don't really deal with a lot of Western technology. A lot of
right.
them don't believe in having TVs. They don't believe even in having smartphones because they're like, these TVs and internet devices are bringing the non Jewish world into our homes. So a lot of them have like old school flip phones and little bricks. They don't use smartphones. And
Why?
so yeah, the ultra orthodox, the vast majority of them will use like the little, when mobile phones started to get a bit smaller, you had like
Yes.
little Nokias and things like that. That's what they're using.
Well,
A
I know
lot of
what.
them don't have a lot of them don't even have TV because they don't want the influence of the world outside to come into their community.
Well,
But
I know
black people,
Osama. He wants everybody to check out a guy named Rabbi Daniel Lapin. He breaks down why Jews are some of the wealthiest individuals, and he also talks about we got too many lazy folks in our community that hold us down like anchors. And shout out to you, brother Nate. I know you grew up in some snow. It happens here, but yeah, only our people exactly. And brother Sama says, um, when it comes to success, he speaks upon singular success. So,
mm,
and that's what that's why I brought this topic up, because I hear many of us say we don't have any money. But I do believe we've got money. 1.2 trillion going out annually. That is a lot of money. A
that's a
lot
lot
of
of
money.
money.
And you know something else the Jewish folk own that we don't own? They own their own media.
Yes.
We have to depend on somebody else's media, and we can't really say what we want to say on somebody else's media without them taking us down. I'm talking about going even the mainstream media, BBC, ABC, CBS, all time.
We
We don't
have the
own that.
media. We don't support it. It's like everything that we have, for some reason, we just don't value it. When it's ours, we don't value it because which magazine was it that recently went under? And it's like we had a black owned magazine, but we
Black
didn't
Enter- you talking
patronize
about
it.
Black Enterprise?
It was, no, I think it was either Essence or Ebony or something like that. One of them was black owned, but it went under because nobody was buying it.
It may have
It
been,
went under.
it may have been Ebony. I know Jet, and shout out to Boudoucia. She's
And it's
also
like
joining us
we
on the
had
panel as well.
Hello.
evening.
Yes,
A black owned magazine. YouTube is
I
playing in the
agree with
background.
you guys. Go ahead.
Yeah, you got YouTube playing in the background.
I did
Okay.
because I have my I'm trying to watch the chat. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear now.
Yeah, I cut the computer off down. I agree with everything you said about our spending habits. Like I was saying before, like the comment I made before, a lot of us nowadays do not have financial management sense, and it's generational for some odd reason. We don't know how to manage the money, and then it's just a financial money management, a money management thing.
Right, and
That's basically what I had to say. Cause see, like I was like, my mom, she didn't know how to manage money when I was growing up. She didn't know how to manage money well.
Just like Brother Osama says, we have plenty of money. Black America would be the 12th richest country on the planet if we had a separate country. And Brother Nate says, yes, we don't own any of the media. All the major media is not owned by us. I'm interpreting what he says. And of course, politically, yeah, Essence and Ebony, all leftist organizations, including Black Enterprise, they were black, but they're not around, just like Osama says. It was top tier. And, money management, you're right, because, well, my dad taught me money management. My mom, she's not very good with money, especially when she has to buy a car every 3 years to keep up with the Joneses.
And the thing about it is this, and you kind of took the thought that I had in my head out. We know a significant number of Black American men are single and childless, but out of the ones who have children, or out of the women who have children, how many of them are raising children alone? And we know that poverty is a huge factor in single parent household. So if you have dominant women raising children with their men, and then you have about 40%, I think, of children are being raised by single mothers, it's likely that a lot of these women are not financially literate. They're having children when they're not maybe established. And because they're under a lot of financial pressure, there isn't necessarily excess money around. I mean, we don't know, because in some situations, again, it's a financial literacy problem. They don't have the financial understanding to manage the money and pass that education on to their own children. This is why some of these things are generational, because people are having children in undesirable circumstances, unmarried, poor, not really working, not, as you said, not generating multiple streams of income, and giving birth to their children in stability. So then they don't have the knowledge to pass on, and then the children repeat the same mistakes. And that's why you find this generational culture of, well, my mother struggled by herself and look how I turned out, it's fine, and now I'm struggling by myself with my kids, and it just carries on in a vicious cycle. So
that welfare state mindset?
There's the welfare state mindset. There's also the strong independent mindset, because the baby mama culture is really pushed to Black women. Black women are the only group of women who sing songs about being single moms, and single motherhood is one of the biggest factors that, you know, perpetuates the cycle of poverty in America. Out of the bulk of people in poverty or below the poverty line are women with or without children. Half of them have children, half of them don't. And again, it's to do with degrees, debt, you know, living above your means and things like that. Obviously, women don't do high paying jobs generally. They generally do retail and things like that. So a lot of women tend to just be in poverty. And if you're unmarried, there's very few people who are married who live below the poverty line, according to Black demographics. So being a single woman or single with children is going to be one of the biggest deciding factors when it comes to perpetuating the cycle of poverty.
And what do you think
Correct.
about that, Badusia, what she said? Because I agree with that.
I agree with that completely, because if we don't know how to manage our money, we will be broke all of the time, and it's a sad situation, because when we get money, when we do get a lump sum of money, like, I'm just going to give an example. Like my sister, back in 2000, and I think it was 2002, she got a lump sum of money for her disability, and it was like $12,000. $12,000 may not seem like a lot of money, but it was for her. I think that was the most money that she ever gotten in her life. And she just took that money, and within 3 months, she was asking me for $5. That meant that all of that money was gone.
She spent 12 grand like that. Yeah.
She
And
just took that money and threw it up a wild goose's ass.
this
She
is
brought her clothes. She brought her little raggedy cars. She brought her boyfriend that she was with some clothes, and smoked it up, whatever. She parted it up, and then the few, it was in a few months. I think it was about 3 months. She was asking me for $5. Okay, so like I said, it is a generational thing, and one time my husband, at his job, he was working, and he met a guy that had just got his income tax back. Say the guy had got like $8,000 back, and then a few months after, the guy was broke. He said he went and parted that money up, and he had a ball and this and that.
he had a ball being broke, didn't he?
Yeah, he was broke. After a few months, he saw the guy. The guy was all lit up. Say he had just got his taxes back, got $8,000 back on his taxes, and then a few months after that, the guy was broke from $8,000. I know $8,000 may not seem like a lot of money, but it could. You could have put some of that money up, and party with a little bit of it, but put some of it up, hold on to it. So it really has to do with financial sense. Like, I have a friend right now. She has 3 children, and she was married, but she's divorced now, but she has 3 children, and she lives better than I do, because she's very good with money. She lives in a beautiful 4-bedroom home in Florida, in Palm Bay, Florida, and she works a lot, of course, but she can save the copper off of a penny. she has several bank accounts, and she has 3 children she's raising by herself. So it really has to do with money sense and money management. And then when the thing too is when people do get that and they do make a lot of money and know what to do with money, they move out of these black neighborhoods into a nicer neighborhood, which 10 times out of 10 is going to be mostly white, like I had to do, because
Absolutely.
you cannot stay where you grew up at, or in one of these, you can't stay in the hood, because look, you want better than that for yourself and for your children. So you're going to take your money to the nicer part of town and you're going to spend your money there.
All right.
Okay. And so it's, it's a financial money sense thing. And
Right.
see, I have my nephew I was telling you about. He works a lot and he makes great money, but he does not keep it because he likes to buy these $400 tennis shoes. He like his games. He like to have, all of these TVs and stuff. He likes to keep up with the Joneses, so he's always broke. He
Right.
makes great money, but he puts the money to things that he does not need, instead of paying his fines and things, and
Right.
getting his license back, and paying his bills. Because when I tried to help him, he didn't want to help me pay any bills. But he had these tennis shoes, and he had brought all of these games, these PlayStation, and so it has a lot to do with money sense.
Well, let me see what people in my chat are saying. Free zone. One big problem is the villainization of what white people calls a lot of things they do make them rich. Can't get rich by saying we don't do that. That's white people-ish. Brother Nate. Boy, this is a topic for Brother Nate here. I see several articles highlighting black Democrats, CBC, black maids, and they never call them out on their failures for running these cities with the Democrat ideology. That's fact, Brother Nate. Black mayors, because they're soaking up all the money in the black neighborhood too. A lot of and your pastors. Osama, to be honest, Jews are about 5% of the white population in America, and they make America uh, and they make America okay. They make American, and they're number one in income. Indians are number two, and East Asians are right behind them. Whites as a whole aren't as rich as we think. That's facts, brother Osama. We keep thinking they're rich. They got a lot of poor whites out here. Osama again. I was saying Jews make 3 times on average of what the average American makes. Um, he's also saying in the news with the Black Manosphere meetup in June, it is too early to speak. That's fact. Yeah, we had a Manosphere meetup last year, and got another one coming. Free Zone. Check out his channel. Uh, I've heard many black people say that the Asian are considered white, and the only reason why Indians are rich is because of white people. That's that is ignorant as hell. Whoever said that, yeah, that's definitely ignorant. Uh, uh, they over in India, they have a caste system over there, so it is about class. And here's another thing that when we talk about why have you two, we talk about racism up here. Okay, now I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but I just believe that if we spend that kind of money, $1.2 trillion a year, is that white people's fault? Can we blame that on white people? Yeah, we're making them even more and more rich, but is that their fault that they're taking money, enriching themselves? I don't believe so.
What I would say is I always go back to the media, because after we reach a certain age, especially if we're coming from dysfunction, maybe coming from poverty, some people who come from poverty, They actually want to prove to everybody that they've got money, because it's like, I never want to feel poor again. And so they kind of overcompensate when they become adults with this excessive spending. But we have to remember, Black people are, when we look at our image in the media, it's always about being a consumer. Like I said, we have the most over sexualized music. We are the only ones that really sing about Rolls Royces and stunting and making, selling drugs and doing crime and basically wearing these humongous chains around our neck. And we got to always have the latest fashion. When it comes to urban fashion, they always have a black face on it. And so we identify or internalize these images and believe this is what it means to be a true Black person. I've got to buy these things. I've got to have this car or this, jewelry or whatever, or this purse. You remember, was it Saweetie said, if your man can't buy you a Birkin, he's not a good man, and things like this. So we
Right.
are socialized to believe that spending and always having the latest items makes us something. And I wanted to go back to what Free Zone said about the villainization. It kind of ties into what I said about us being reversed. um Other cultures, they don't prioritize being flashy. They care more about things like education and trades. Again, going back to the media, we are sold that we are best when we're rapping over a beat or throwing a ball. And even if you make a lot of money doing those things, your career is very short lived. You cannot build a functioning society on entertainers. But who are the biggest voices and names in the Black community? Entertainers. So we have to break free from a lot of this programming that is constantly being fed to us, that we can't be anything more than rappers and entertainers and artists and fashionistas and ballers. We need to break free of that mind control and actually say, no, we can be engineers, we can be doctors, where we can actually build a solid foundation for a functioning community.
That's facts. I got Citizen Lou. Welcome to the panel. What do you have to say on the conversation? We're talking about where do Black people spend most of their money?
What's, what's,
We were both in the Navy and we saw some stuff. So
yeah, I was one of them. To antisocial, I agree 300%. It's I think I had a discussion about this yesterday. I think it comes from like a lack of self esteem in the Black community. It's like in the Black community, everybody's looking outward instead of inward. So it's like she said, we gotta look rich because we're not rich, right? We gotta look European because we're not European, or we buy European fashion wear, name brands, and stuff like that. It's like I said, I think you could root it down to like a self esteem issue. And I think that comes from not really, in my opinion, like not for one, not having a father at home, right? Because you kind of get like
that's true.
insecure kind of mind, you get kind of insecure about that. And then I would also maybe have to add maybe the whole like, not knowing where you're like specifically from, that, you know what I mean? Like you don't have like like a heritage you can like look at, like a tree or anything like that. So I that's what I think, man. I think that, but I guess to
Hmm.
answer the question, what we buy, we know what we buy. Shoe, most
You
Black people,
buying Jordans. I mean, you own
Jordans,
a pair of Jordans, bro? I don't own a pair of
not
Jordans.
anymore, not anymore. But you
Oh,
know what I
you had
found
a
out?
how much do they
Yeah,
by the way, how much do Jordans cost? I've never even seen the price of a pair of
well,
Jordans.
it depends, right?
Oh,
At
it
the
does.
store, if you get them at the store, like you can get like 150, maybe 100. But if on resale, and if it's like a hot shoe, like the 11s, they can go for like 300 on resale.
Good
Yeezys can go
gracious.
for
Yeah,
400. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
I was a
because
sneakerhead for real
yeah.
out back in the day. Oh, go ahead, antisocial. I didn't hear
No, I
you.
was just
Go ahead.
gonna say over here they're about £150. So
And what's a
Right,
pound?
yeah. So
Pound
about
is
the same,
about
give or
wow,
take.
that's about $300. I think a pound is like $2
No,
to
uh,
us, or
no,
$2 is
no. A
double
pound
it.
is like it's stronger, but it's not like 2x. It's like point,
no, it's about about 60.
yeah, like
It's
60,
like
like yeah, 0.60% more. Right? Is that right?
mm,
Antisocial.
Yeah, it's
So
probably like it's not $2 to a pound. It's probably like $1 something. So
Right. I
maybe it's
remember it was
180.
something like
right,
that.
you're right, yeah.
But
Probably about 180 in the States.
but back in the chat, the psalmist says, "Will say the structural, systematic racism African Americans have experienced is also a huge reason why we are at where we're at in society. It's a fact." And
Mm.
of course, he discussed this with his folks, and he also says racism, the need to have a huge underclass in America, plays a massive role, and that's that's fact as well. Well, what a name for this one! I'm not going to shout that at. Well, what's going on? Uh, Hi, Peter North, old adult star. Love the show tonight. Thanks, Peter North. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Love the
You
name.
see,
Shout out to you, brother Nate.
yeah, you just mentioned something, and again, it kind of goes back to the propaganda. And I can't remember what you just said about maybe I have to go through the comments. What
You mean
I don't,
about
sorry.
about the racism that creates an underclass?
Yeah, I do believe
Yep.
that, but I believe that, it's not so much about like well, there is racism. There is still institutional racism. They did find that even men, for example, black men who come from well-to-do families, they come from wealthy, affluent families, they still seem to not be able to carry on the wealth. Like they get stopped when they get into jobs, they can't get the jobs or they can't keep the jobs. And so it's not like other cultures where, say for example, I've got a child and you have a child, and you are a doctor and I'm a lawyer. Your child says they want to do law, so I say, all right, I'll hook them up with an internship at my whatever, my law firm. And then I've got a child who wants to be a doctor, so I said, all right, well, can you help me out and take little Johnny and teach him the ropes to be a doctor. And now we have a network of parents who are able to create doors for the open doors for the next generation. We don't have that kind of network in the black community. And even when people come from good backgrounds, they're not able to get into certain positions. And oftentimes they give those jobs to women who don't bring other black people in. And so it's kind of like, yes, there's institutional racism, but it's not just that. It's more about the mind control. If we believe that we are only good for spending money, we will never put our hand to the wheel to do anything else. And so the problem with white supremacy is more of a cultural, it's what I can't remember, the problem with low expectations. You go to school, you may not get the best teachers, or you may be in an impoverished area or an impoverished school that doesn't have good resources. Now you have a lesser education, which is obviously going to have a trickle down effect on education further down the line. So by the time you do try to get into a job, you're not qualified enough to do the job. But you were kind of sabotaged from the time you were at school because the school you went to didn't support you in your education. And so there has to be a lot of, it's not one problem, it's not linear, it's multifaceted, and it's complex. So people need to break free of the mind control. That's the
I,
first
Right.
thing
I,
we need to
Go
do.
ahead.
I slightly disagree.
Go
I
ahead,
have a,
bro. Go ahead.
I disagree with just on the one point about the school's resources. A lot of times you can throw a lot of money at a school, but it's the parents are like the parents have to make sure the child is well behaved or studying outside of school or doing like if they're
Oh yeah,
behind.
definitely.
You see what I'm saying? Like I think because
Yeah,
math
yeah.
is math is math, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's man. This is never gonna change.
right. You could do that on a piece of paper, a laptop, an iPad, a calc.
Heck
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
and you know what? And I see what she's saying too. And I agree with, like I said, 99% of it.
Yeah, it
It's
makes
just that
sense.
right. It makes 100%. It's just that one thing I notice amongst most American Negroes is that there is a lack of math intensive training or learning,
Hmm.
That
a severe lack, a severe. And
The future is STEM. The future is STEM. So
That's funny that you say that because my second channel I talk about STEM. It's
I
not.
know I wanted to help plug that
yeah,
second
plug,
channel.
yeah.
I did
I'm
plug
gonna
in.
go subscribe to it because
Yeah. Well,
oh, go ahead, go ahead.
I changed the name to that channel, and the reason why because there are a lot of people throwing copyrights out there, so I put my own logo on there, QCIS, because I trademarked that logo. So I'm
Okay.
still, yeah. So you'll see it, yeah. STEM. I'm in STEM, and Citizen Lou is in STEM, and
Yeah, because like, let's just be honest. I mean, look. I know they got the. I'm gonna be honest. Like
go
working
ahead, bro.
hard. Black people have been working hard, back breaking for
Backbreaking
cen-
stuff.
for centuries, right? And that shit it hasn't gotten anywhere,
No.
right? It hasn't gotten us any. But when you look at more of the technological, the STEM, things of that nature, like fields, and that's where the money's at, and you can do those for like 60 years and never have to quote unquote retire. Like you don't have to like hope, oh man, I can't wait till I get retirement, and then they keep pushing it back and pushing it back, and you still clocking in and working, and your back messed up, your neck messed up, your
Cold
knees
weather.
messed up. Yeah, you know what I mean. Now you can't, but that dude who was like an engineer designing the pipe system for the city, or the guy who was
Or
built
the
the
IT
architect.
guy.
Yeah, the IT guy, the architect, stuff like that. That's where the money's at, and then they can do that until they're 60. You know what I mean? And their back's not hurting. They not, and that money compounds, and you don't have to be in one location. That's what but at the end of the day, the foundation is math. Because not even just let's move from STEM. You gotta know math, like
Science.
interest
Well,
rates.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the world runs on math, right? Like if you really look at it, the entire. So it's like if you don't have the skills of this new world, you're gonna be left behind. You're gonna be an underclass. And like I said, that's why I don't see that as race. Because I say this all the time. If I look at a dude on the corner and he's homeless, I said I guarantee if he knew how to make an iPhone app, I bet he wouldn't be homeless.
no, he wouldn't.
Agree.
And it don't have to be that. I'm just using that as example, right? I can use a
You have to be industrious and create something that solves a problem.
Right.
And then you'll create an opportunity. Do you mind if I touch on a comment from the chat?
Yeah, Nate says we're a consumer class. That's a comment. That's true. We are. Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
I wanted to address Free Zone Lou's comment. He said, this white supremacy talk has got to stop. Personal accountability has to be fully endorsed, and the victimhood must be destroyed.
Yep.
And the thing about it is this: I'm not saying let's go around and catch all the white people and blame them for everything. Okay. Right. I've said this before and I'll say it again. White supremacy is a system. It operates in the 9 areas of human activity. Love, sex, relationships, whatever you want to call it, education, legislation, employment, religion, politics, and obviously things like the prison industrial complex. When you think about things like, for example, black men being prosecuted for weed possession and being locked up for child support and rubbish like this is white supremacy in the legal system. Giving black men harsher sentencing than other races of men means that we have less men who are viable in the black community. And if you cannot work because you have a criminal record, obviously you have now been neutered in terms of economic. You said it earlier. Economics is what gives us power. The ability to lobby and to do things and to build things comes from our ability to generate wealth. So if you have a legal system which is unfair, obviously that's going to make it harder for you to get into employment. If there is discrimination, for example, white employers give jobs that should go to black men to black women who will not hold the door open for a black man. That is white supremacy in the employment system. We talked about the whole situation in Detroit with the board of whatever. It's full of black women, but they're all being paid probably by white men. And under their watch, a whole swathe of children are going under the radar who will become what? They'll become baby mamas, they'll become gangsters, they'll become corpses, and then they're going to become fodder for the prison industrial complex. This is white supremacy in the education system. Okay, this is not victimhood, but we have to be realistic that the way the system is set up if you are not savvy, you will fall into the trap, because they have shown, for example, that black boys get watched more than black other children in a class, which means
Fact.
even a normal behaving child will get penalized more. They're going to try to put that child on drugs or put them in a unit rather than keep them with their peers. And we don't have male teachers to keep them in check. And so when you understand these different factors, we're not saying, oh my God, everybody's the KKK and all these white people hate us. And, I can't go outside because they're hunting us. They're hunting us. No one is saying that. But for example, someone said, if the education system has a lot of funding, but the parents are not in the home to help the children, well, why are the parents not in the home? Because we have a media that tells black women, go be great, you can live your best life, you can do bad all by yourself. So what do the women do? They follow Rihanna, who's propped up like an idol. Rihanna was on the front of my newspaper yesterday, showing off
I
her uncovered stomach. No one needs to see that you have a baby in there.
I didn't
No
even know
one.
that. I didn't even know that, and I'm not a Rihanna fan.
Yeah, Rihanna's pregnant for a rapper. She's got over, some estimate she's worth 1 billion. He's worth 10 million. What kind of message does that send to black women? No matter how successful you are, go pick up a man who makes a fraction of your money.
And
How
she
is
was
that going to function? How is that going to benefit the mentality of black girls coming up?
and she was dating like a billionaire white dude
She was with
prior,
an
right?
Arab at one point. She's
Arab,
probably,
Arab, Arab dude. Yeah, that's
I know
what it was.
Jackson was with one as well, and
Yeah, she finessed him. Yeah,
oh yeah, she did.
I think the thing was she had to stay for a certain number of years in order to get
the half
like a
the money,
payout afterwards.
and
So
she
it was
got like
basically like, yeah,
yeah, she waited like the exact days too, like the amount of years, and she filed
yeah.
divorce. That's
It was like a
Yeah,
couple of days or a couple of weeks after the deadline hit. She's like, all right, I'm out.
I, I know.
Okay. She,
I know.
I'm
Osama.
telling you.
Besides the STEM, Osama, shout out to him because he has a business himself. He mentioned something about the blue collar trades. They're not going anywhere either. You have to have some type of education, and just like Citizen Lou said, you got to know math when you're doing some of these other,
I
carpet.
was just about to say that for one. I was just about to say that.
You call me Leon, dude. That's my real name.
Okay,
Oh,
Yeah, Leon. I was just about to say that. I was just about to say, being an electrician requires, algebra. You got to know, physics and stuff like that. It's not like I'm not saying. If anything, I would say that because that's not something anybody can do. Like you have to be trained. You have to have tutelage. You have to be an apprentice. I'm
Heck,
not
not everybody can fix a car, man. I'm gonna tell you.
right. Not everybody can fix plumbing. Not everybody can get in there and rewire the house. I'm not familiar with all of them, but you know what I'm saying? Like those, yeah, I know people try to say I talk down on, I really don't talk down on blue collar trade. I don't do it. So I don't, what I mean? I don't talk about out, you know what I mean? Like that'd be dumb if I was talking about something I didn't do, but
but blue collar trade is actually where all the money is, because the blue collar trade, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's obviously, STEM and things like that, but technology is important, it's advancing, but we always will need somebody to fix our electrics, our plumbing, our roads. Those things will never go away, or build houses for us or office blocks. And again, it goes back to the fatherlessness, because if you have a father in the home, he's going to make you do things around the house and train you up with skills. What is really lacking in the black community is also skill,
skills. Yeah,
because
I
again,
agree.
we don't value education. We think sometimes education is just going to university, but a father will take you to the garage and you have to help him fix the car. He will make you wash the windows, mow the grass. You can have a lawn care business that generates, you can get a rubbish truck, and become a millionaire doing private rubbish collection. But again, it's the pride, it's the facade. I got to have a job where I have a title and I got to show off because, I got to make the people proud of me and look up to me. So I don't want to say I'm a bin man, but you could actually have a rubbish truck business
Yeah,
and
you could.
generate money. You could go and buy a pressure washer and clean people's driveway and make money.
Heck, you can go
But
get You can go get a food truck out there and make money. I mean, there's plenty of
Food trucks
ways to
are
make money,
amazing. Yeah.
and I just don't get me wrong. I mean, you know, certain areas you need a college degree. That's a minimum requirement. Like I'm an engineer, you have to have that in order
Mm,
to take
yeah.
the PE and get licensed. But other than that, um, you don't really need a college degree if you go into the right field. You could be a
No.
chef. You don't need a college degree. I think, and I'm not knocking college because I went, but I think we are too hell bent on college. We think that
Mm,
the best way out. Really, I really don't believe so because anybody can get a college degree now because you have a lot of schools online like uh, what is the name of that one? There's one out in there,
Open
Phoenix.
University. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
all of them. Yes, all of them are out there. All of them. Shout out to
A lot of
Conscious Effect. Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of the things that people want to do, they need to find out, do I really need the degree? Because for some of the things people want to do, you don't necessarily need a degree. You could do something else that wouldn't, occupy so much time and get you into so much debt. But it's just having that lack of structure early on. It sets you up with a certain mindset later on, like I want fast money, quick money, and things like that. It's an emotional mindset. It's not a mindset rooted in, and it kind of goes back to your poll again about, do we understand the importance of delayed gratification? Because building a business from scratch takes time, it takes patience, it takes hard work. Doing a drive-by or robbing a bank or doing a scam is quick money, but obviously when you get caught, your life is ruined. But
right.
again, you could make a wholesome video and YouTube will strike it, but we can have a drill video that promotes scamming and killing, and it's got millions of views and YouTube doesn't touch it. So again, this is the media pushing a certain narrative to us that we have to reject.
You know, the average bank robbery is $5,000.
But when you
What
get
now?
caught, you end up going to jail for 30 years. It's
Right.
like it's not even worth it.
It's not even worth it, right? When you do the numbers, it's like it's not even worth it. And you look at like a drug dealer, if you're really like the average drug dealer, like the average, right, is making less than minimum wage.
It's broke, yeah.
It's broke. That's why
Yeah,
most of them live with their mom.
shout out to Anunnaki the One. Welcome to the channel. Yeah, but robbing a bank. Let me tell you this, and I did a video on this a long time ago. Long time ago. You go and rob a bank, okay? You got an illegal gun. That's a charge. You go, what do you get robbing a 7-Eleven? You know how Negroes are. You know they're not going to get the top line. They're going to get $20. And $20 won't even give you a full tank of gas here in America. So that's a charge. And I will say this. I tell all the brothers, don't be a criminal. Please don't be a criminal. You're not good at it.
Right. And Lee, I'm so glad you said that. Like real talk. Like, let's just keep it real. Like black people, bro, we are the worst criminals. There's no, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, let's just keep it real. Like, out of all the criminality, BMF, Frank Lucas, all that shit, right? None of that transmuted into anything like Vegas or Chicago unions or the
No.
street cleaning services in New York. None of that transmuted into anything that could be tangible, right? It was just clout. It all was just for clout. Like,
It's all cash. It's all cash too. Sometimes you got to turn that cash into something.
Launder it. Say it, launder it.
launder, exactly. That's
You can set up your own bank with that. FDIC will insure cash up to $250,000, but you got to be careful. You got to be careful with banks too. But yeah, we're not. Too many of us. We even, you go in there, you kill the witness and you kill the clerk. That's a charge. See, we'll go to jail for stealing $20.
right, exactly. Like that's so like the mob created Vegas, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Nate got it up the mafia. Yeah.
the mafia. Yeah, the Chicago mob got JFK elected. If you look at the Electoral College when JFK, Illinois was like the state that flipped it for him, and it was because of the Chicago mob. You know, the bootleg, and they were, you know, the Kennedys were doing with alcohol and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, and I'm gonna say this. Leon. If you're gonna be a criminal, like I'm not. Look, sometimes, like, you know,
Be a hacker.
morality. You already know what I was about to say. Yeah, morality is
I mean,
morality is a thin line, right? But I was gonna say, if you are gonna do it, I mean, like you said, I mean, the money ain't in Dollar Tree or the banks. The money is online. The money is in these crypto exchanges. The money is on the internet. There ain't no cash you can in these stores anymore.
But see, another thing that you talked about, Citizen Lou and socialite. See, we don't work smart. Even if be a criminal, who wants to go out and get dirty? You got to go get a gun. You got to run your ass off. You got to do it at night. And heck, if you don't know how to do it like the Boston heist, put some gloves on. You know the plans of a building. You know how to. You know how.
Yeah.
Take care of the cameras. We don't do anything like that. We're going in. You got the guy with the getaway car.
Stocking on your face.
Got that blue bomb all over your hands.
Yeah. There was this guy back. There used to be these sneakers, LA Gear sneakers that came out in the early 90s. Okay.
Yeah, I remember them. Yeah.
All right, guy robbed a bank in Pittsburgh and got caught because the sneakers lit up while he was running through the woods. He got caught. And then the dye blew up in his face.
That blue dye? Yeah, I think that blue dye lasts like 2-3 weeks.
And when we do something, I mean, we can't even rob right.
No, you can't. That was in my hometown. These two dudes robbed a bank, and then like they were arguing while they were robbing it or some shit, and then they started fighting.
Oh yeah, like Nate said,
they started fighting each other.
They're fighting. They're holding it like Nate says. They're holding a gun sideways, like they're gangsters. These individuals, you know, sisters out there. I understand why some of you don't like these brothers. Now, some of you raised these brothers, but some of these brothers out here, they're definitely lazy. They're sitting home. They don't want to do anything, and they don't want to lead. They can't lead. These guys,
they can't.
They want to live off somebody else too. Let's just be honest. They want to drive their woman's car, and when you are living off of your woman, you're not a man to me.
You a cat. You know what I mean? You're a cat. Like,
but we have to remember the linchpin is always the woman. The woman wants the cat. She wants the wife. She wants the position of power and dominance. So she's not going to get with a man who she has to submit to. She's going to get a man who has to submit to her. And this kind of brings it back to the statement I made right at the beginning, where the men need to separate. Like, let the women who are on that, you know, the people who are on that life go and do them and suffer in their consequences. But for the men who are about something, they need to separate and do their own thing, because these women are deliberately, you know, getting with a lot of the times the worst of men, and that's perpetuating that negative cycle. So
shout out to brother Nate. He says the same thing. He's right though. We do.
You know, and I was going to say about the whole we can't even do crime right. How many times have people done things like got away with a bank robbery and then they stunt on social media with all the cash?
Oh yeah, exactly.
A guy got jammed up like that the other day. He robbed the bank he worked at, and he went on his social media, like rolling in all the money and showing it off on social media. It's like, how can you be this?
The FBI has subpoenaed Instagram, so like, I mean, all DMs are available to the FBI.
And something else.
Oh wow, and I think WhatsApp is as well.
Well, and something else we don't know. We black folk don't know politics. And shout out to Hood Server. Check his channel out. I've already spammed his channel in my chat as well. We don't know about politics, and I've seen he and Trey on panels, and you know, these leftist black men are trying to argue with the Hood Conservative and Trey, and they don't hold a candlelight to those Hood Conservative and Trey, because you see, they're not victims, and I don't come as a victim. Call me a coon too. I don't care. In fact, a coon, a real coon, that's usually the brother or sister who's afraid of freedom.
I call that's a sound bowl, because At
He
this
calls
point,
them
it seems like all like if you have positive qualities like leadership, money, family, if you like love, if you have like those type of qualities, that's coon. Like it's almost like coon is like the positive word now. Like that's what I was saying one time. Like, I think coon should be hijacked. Like, you know what I mean? Like it shouldn't even like
that's a good point. I never thought about it that way.
you get what I'm saying? Like, but like you said, it's really the Sambos. Like that's who really like
Is a
you know,
Sambo a house Negro?
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's like really
Yeah. So when
from my
when I
perspective,
think about a coon, that's what I mean.
And he
Somebody
probably
who's like in complete denial about white supremacy or in denial about the past
and,
and history
and
and
he
what's
votes
occurred. And
and he votes
yeah.
Democrat. He voted. That's another thing
No.
about voting. I'm going to talk about this while I got brother Nate up and the hood server is up. I don't know if you're a black man out there. Why in the hell do you keep voting Democrat?
yeah, that's
I
what I
mean,
can't
Yeah.
understand. And then they like say it proudly too. That's what really kills me.
and
Like
you can't.
they
You know what?
proudly announce it.
I actually have more. Uh, let me put it this way. I actually cannot talk to leftist black men. I
Yeah, you
mean,
can't.
these hoteps or these black first individuals. I can't talk to them. I had one. Oh, you know who I'm getting ready to talk about, Citizen Lou, and he was up here on my channel, and
buddy. Oh yeah, he was
Action Potential.
super sensitive. Yeah, he was
Oh
sensitive.
man, he was ultra sensitive, man. I can't have that dude up there on my channel. Yo, and he was trying to go off. Well, you guys should learn about Black history. First of all, most blacks don't even know about Black history. Okay,
Mm.
we don't.
But you
Many of
know what?
us. Go ahead, bro.
I was gonna say this real quick. But that's what I hate when they say Black history, right? Because then they try to extrapolate and they try to make it like everybody throughout world history who was black is Black history, right? Like they'll use the Moors, right?
Yeah,
For example, but they're not like quote unquote black. They were Arab. They were Muslim. You see what I'm saying? It's like just because they had dark skin, that doesn't mean you see what I'm saying?
yeah, I see.
And they go like to Egypt, and then it's like
But many
anybody
of
with
them have
black skin. Go ahead.
many of them here, brother. Didn't mean to cut you off.
Are you good?
But they haven't even been to Africa. I've been over Africa. All the blacks in Africa don't operate the same way.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's ridiculous.
What I will say is that at the end of the day, for example, Jewish people will say never forget, but they don't use the fact that they remember the past to stop them going into the future. And I feel like sometimes we have too much of a binary thought process. It's either we've got to live in the past or we've got to pretend like the past never happened so that we can go into the future. And it's like, no, you can do both. You
Many
can
of them
still
don't
talk
want.
about Black
But
history and be aware of your environment, but that shouldn't stop you from going forward. And that's why, for me personally, I know that's not really to you, Leon, but to people who are like, oh, it's just a victim mindset. No, there really is a system in place, and
No,
you
no,
have to see where the trap is and sidestep the trap. The point of knowing where the trap is to avoid the trap, not to fall
right.
in it and then lament.
And you
That's
cannot feel like a victim all the time and have a defeatist attitude. Again, this is on panels, and shout out to brother Nate. This is why most of the leftist black men get kicked off our panels, because they're this is crazy to me. And brother Citizen Lou, you're going to understand this. I have not ever seen as many emotional black men until I reached the mid to late 2010s, and we're in the early 2020s now. So many emotional black men. You cannot have a conversation with them. I mean, they really get their feelings hurt. I can
no, you
understand
can't.
women.
Yeah, yesterday I was just talking about weave and they was
Uh-oh,
it was black men. I mean,
black men.
vehemently. I mean, the black women were like, oh yeah, they weren't even really like sweating it, right? But the black men were vehemently like like on some, umbrella corp defense force. Like they just couldn't, what I mean? They just had to defend it. Like, what the fuck you talking about? You talking about you don't know what you talking about. That don't mean nothing. She got some weave. I don't care what you say. Oh, like I'm like, what? And then the women were just chilling. The women had like they didn't have to. They just said, they were like, I'll still wear weave. And I was like, oh, I mean, you know what I'm saying? But the men were the ones who kept egging it on. I was trying to move on. They kept coming back. I was like, bro, it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, y'all the women, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, this is
Yeah,
crazy.
because they've been socialized by the women. They have been conditioned from childhood that you don't question mama, you don't talk about mama. You're a real black man, just tolerates anything a woman throws at you. A real man doesn't say this, that, or the third about a woman. A real man doesn't talk about the hair, even though the hair is $1 billion industry. That's how I shut down this argument on Twitter. The guy's trying to tell me I'm basically a white supremacist and a coon because I told him you need to have economics. And I said, he said, there's no money. I said, how much money do women spend on weave? Weave is a $1 billion industry. That man did not come back to that conversation because when he realized, God damn, oh yeah, the weave alone is 1 billion, more than 1 billion. And you see, Leon showed the figures. What was it? Non-alcoholic drinks, 3 billion.
$3 billion in some alcohol.
There was about 10 billion in tobacco, alcohol, and non-alcoholic drinks. Just 3 things alone.
Right.
And 23 bill on medication, healthcare, because we've made ourselves sick through all the things that we were doing prior.
Right.
And I was going to say this real quick. The guy who was arguing me, right? Like 6 months ago, Leon, I told like his girlfriend or whatever went to Jamaica, and I told him, all right, bro, well, y'all might as well break up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that shit dead. Like, y'all, it's over. And he was like, man, you ain't got it like me. See, I got my stuff. I got it locked down. Like, all right, man, okay. She going to Jamaica to get smashed, bro. I don't know what you like think they going to Jamaica for, or go to the beach. I don't know what you think that is.
But you can't tell these brothers anything, man. Again, some of them, like Latin Patriot says, I see them buying brand name shoes, clothes, iPhones, watches, getting nails done, and human hair extensions. It's all super expensive. And Brother Nate says you have to defend the honor of a person that pays your rent.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. That dude's chick broke up with him after she got back from Jamaica. And now he over here arguing me about weave. See, this is crazy. This is a matriarchal society. See, a matriarch doesn't have to worry about economics, right? The matriarch is a leech fest. Like, you just leech off of everybody. That's what a matriarch
does. It's true because of the welfare state. I mean, we go work and we're what we call the actual labor that keeps them. Because just be honest, and I'm going to sound like a male chauvinist, but fuck it, that's what it is. What do women really build in this country? I mean, they didn't have the power.
Nothing. I mean, if you really look at it, even, you know what's funny, even when you look at like the roles that they'll say are traditionally women, men do that the best. Men are the best cooks. Men are the best dancers. Hair, you know, like, it is a fact. And the thing I just wanted to convey was that in a matriarch, right, you just, you know, that's why you can tell we're a matriarch, because, like, see, the men can't travel or interact with other races of women and do that, but the women can. The women can go all around the world, and
it's all a Marxist mindset. You know, because in a matriarchal society, they don't believe in capitalism either.
It's a reverse mindset.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they believe in free
gender reversal.
Right, exactly. It's a true matriarch. I mean, and then, you know, like, even you know, there's, what's his name, Sub-Zero. He does it. He does it a lot. Like, you know, they say ugly black men, attractive black. He like, if you haven't traded all, it's because you ugly. And it's like, see, black men are it's basically like we're treated like women. It's all about looks and attractiveness. It's not about what you build. It's not about your productivity. It's not about how much money you got. It's not about your skill set. It's not about how worldly you are. It's about how you look, you know, or how you purport yourself to look, right? The image you give out to the world.
I mean, it's just like a woman. Just like I addressed this comment by Latin Patriot. They buy all this stuff and they have no furniture, no adequate furniture. Some of them don't even have food in their house. Okay,
true.
Talk to him, Leon.
A number. Look, and I'm getting on the men right now because I'm just with men out here. I'm just sick and tired of these brothers out here they're accepting being sweet. They are.
Being soft as shit. Yeah.
They won't go. I mean, one of the reasons why I got in the military because it got soft.
Man, you know what, Leon? When I go to jiu-jitsu, I see no black men.
Wow.
There's like I'm like the only black dude there. There
You
was
know
one
what's
dude.
kind
He was mixed. He was mixed. You know, what I mean?
You
He's
know
like
what's kind of
Puerto
funny
Rican.
though? You mentioned something about STEM. A lot of my classes, I'm the only black in there, man.
Talk God, talk about it.
Well, when I was going to Temple University, you know where most of the blacks were? They were in sociology. They were all the community. They were all in the easy subjects, and it was nothing but a gossip fest. They weren't in it. They weren't in anything.
Yep. Was it communication, psychology,
Right?
African American studies,
Yeah, they thought they were sound.
English?
English
Oh my
degrees.
God, you English? Nigga, fuck, we all speak English. What the fuck you need a degree in English for?
Well,
Like-
a,
And the
a number of them, a number of them go through those curriculums. That's particularly the women because they like to argue so they can be lawyers. It's an easy way to get the law school.
That's true. That is true. That is true. Like history,
Okay.
English, and stuff like that. Political science. Yeah.
But the thing about it is this, again, these are degrees that don't build the community. Like a lot of women will brag that black women open more businesses, but when you really break down the numbers, a lot of them are like sole traders selling hair bundles and doing nails and things like this. And again, not only can you not build a community like that, you haven't got something that you can really pass down, especially to a son, unless you open a salon and he becomes a hairstylist. It's not like a law firm or a surgery or a dental practice or something that
You
you
know,
could say, I'm going to train up my son to become a doctor in my practice or whatever.
it's
And
funny
so,
that you say that antisocial. There was a black lady by the name of Madam C.J. Walker. If you don't know who she is, I mean, she actually has a museum in
yeah, I've
Indianapolis.
heard of her.
Okay,
Yeah,
now she was the first
black
black
female
millionaire, I
millionaire,
believe.
wasn't she?
Now, here's the thing about that. She created the hot comb, but the hot comb wasn't for black men. It was for black women to straighten their hair out. So, in other words, when we create something, we create it for the society to use, whereas,
Mm.
She created something just for one gender. So it didn't help everybody out. And that's the problem. As a man, we are constantly innovative because technology changes every day. Look at Citizen Lou; he's in IT. They might be running. Let me think of. You may have heard of this language. Let me say you're running Python right now. Then 6 months later, you're running Visual Basic or something different. If you don't keep up with society, you're not going to make it. And that's what STEM does. You have to keep up with the technology. And you have to be able to think because, all right, being criminals are always finding new ways to do something. They are.
No, that's a fact. Like even it's funny. Everybody's kind of moving to AWS now and stuff like that. Theo.
Theo talks about AWS.
Even in my field, like it's everybody's moving. It's just I'm not gonna get into it. I was just saying that's just what you were saying is true. Everything changes. Been. I wanted to say, dang, I just slipped my mind. My bad. It'll come back
But
to
that's
me.
true.
Yeah, It'll come back to me. I'll pass the mic. It'll come back to me.
Yeah, so it's been a good discussion. I just wanted to, clarify what I wanted to say, and if you don't mind, I'm going to jump down.
All right. Well, I appreciate you for stopping by because you bring a lot of knowledge here, and it's a topic that it's been on my mind because last week I talked about the family. Is it overrated? I talked about the black church, and
It's good discussion, yeah.
I still believe going back to the family. I still believe in some instances it is overrated because it's been more and more. You talk about leeching. A lot of grown kids are going back to living at home with their parents, and they're bringing their grown kids back, and they're using their parents to babysit their kids while they go out and have fun. And these grown kids are going back home. They want to be adults, but at the same time live free. In other words, they don't want any responsibilities, and they want their parents to like them. And one of the reasons why we have the society that is, I call it a dumb society now, is because a lot of these parents, they're still children themselves. I mean, how are you going to compete with your kid by hanging out with your kid? You're smoking dope with your kid. You're drinking with your kid. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to
It's
the
true.
same club with your kids.
I will say this, right? I agree with you
Go ahead, bro.
at one, but I'll give you a little pushback on this point, right?
Sure.
There was this funny like meme I saw, right? It was like name something that's cool when rich people do it and trashy when poor people do it. And it was one of them was living with your parents. Right? Like rich
Right.
people never really leave the house. You know, like you remember that show Dallas? Like all the kids were living in the house.
I remember the show.
Mhm.
Remember that show? Like
Yeah.
like you look at the Bushes, right? You look at the Trumps. I mean, rich people kids really don't quote unquote like leave and go do something. You know what I mean? Like they stay in the house for a long period of time, or long
That's
enough
true.
at least, right? And I think, and then because I think that's another issue, right? Like black kids kind of get kicked out, or they have to, or they
Yeah,
or they,
that's true.
you know what I'm saying? They either kicked out or like they just fall into the hype and they just want to leave. They go to Atlanta and be struggling and getting dead and just do shit bounced about. It prefer to struggle, right? Because I got caught up in that, and then I had went back home. I was there for like almost a year, and but I was paying rent and stuff like I was helping with the bills and helping out, so I wasn't just totally bumming, you know what I mean? But I was saving up money and stuff like that, and it kind of got me in a good situation. But that's the only thing. But I do see what you're saying. A lot of parents aren't mature enough to have children, and that's kind of like what you're seeing now. It's like an arrested development type scenario.
Agreed. Well,
Yes.
it's been really good. Thank you
All right,
so
that's
much for having
just
me on the panel.
good
Good
to
to talk
always
to you
talk to
too,
you.
Lou.
Hey,
Mm-hmm.
you're always welcome up on this on the panel. I I got room for more right now. It's me and Citizen Lou up here, and uh,
Good night, everybody.
Then
hey,
it's
good night.
probably
And thanks for stopping by.
yeah, it's probably late over there. It's probably like I don't know because I
I
know
think
she's
they're
in.
about 5 hours different from us.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah, so it's probably late.
I'm already looking at 9:14 here. I'm in Eastern time here. So,
I'm on Pacific.
you in Cali? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm on the West Coast, so
Yeah, but
it's 6:15 over here.
oh, okay. Well, yeah, out there. Uh, One time I was in San Diego out there back in the days, back in the Navy. That used to be a nice, nice base out there. But
Mhm.
you know,
Oh, San Diego.
San Diego was probably one of the nicest Navy bases. I mean, I
Yeah,
went to great.
San Diego is lit, man. It's expensive, but it's nice.
Yeah, it's nice, and see that's another thing too about some black men too. Some people might put down the military. I tell you what, I was happy to get into the military. Now, I don't know if you've ever watched it, Citizen Lou, but me and Tommy Jean here, we watch it, and I love it. There's this show that comes on called the Navy SEALs. I love
Mhm.
watching SEALs.
Mhm.
One of the best forces out there. I mean, SEAL team. That's what it is. Man, you were in the Navy. You know how it is.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know 100%.
Yeah, well, people like me, I was stuck on a boat at first, and then I went to the Seabees after that.
Oh yeah, so you was around that. You were like
Yeah,
yeah. So you were going out and about yeah. I
yeah, but
was
I did a little bit on. I went down there and worked with the Marines a little bit, but the military. The military is not a bad place for black men, but
no, it's not, and that's another thing. Like they'll say, when I first got in Leon, I kind of had like this pro black, blackity black, the white man out to get me type mentality. Because it's in there in the military, right? Like you
it's in
see,
there. I was the only black E5 in my division as an OS, so I know.
right? So, and then what I found out, it was like the other black people who were really fucking me over, like more than anything.
Yeah, isn't that so? Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was the Chiefs, it was the black Chiefs, the black senior Chiefs.
The warrant officers. Yeah.
Yeah, like they were the warrant officers, like they were the ones, like because
Give me.
like I remember like they would I would talk to this girl, I would be talking to this other girl, right? Because our ship was co-ed, and
Okay.
I would be talking to this girl, and then like they come up to me and just, hey Sutton, like I ain't had nothing to do, but they like trying to like show that they like my superior or some shit like that when I'm talking to girls. You know what I mean? Like they don't know how to talk to women, so like they have to use their rank. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because
In order to
I had a when I was doing all back in the days, we had to take tests in the Navy wide exam. So you go up, we had these manuals called 3 and 2s of our rates. So I had this guy, he was very nasty. He was Senior Chief Totten. He was a naval counselor, NC. He was an NCSC, Senior Chief. God, he was nasty. He wouldn't help a brother out. He wouldn't help me out at all.
You know what I mean? And they'd be the first ones to turn on you. So but anyway, so what I realized, right, and I kind of use this in like life now. Like, look, I don't drink alcohol, right? So because I did a problem solving scenario. I was like, okay, how can they really fuck me over in the Navy? The only way really is like get like a DUI or like alcohol's involved.
Yeah.
I said, so let me just stop drinking alcohol. Right. And then a lot of my problems changed. Like what I mean? I started getting promoted, Sailor of the Weeks, got a medal for saving somebody from killing himself, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, it wasn't like it was no white man who was on my neck. Just stopped me. It was me. You know what I mean? It was I was the cause of all my issues, right? And that's and I hate that, a lot of times black people say that, oh, it doesn't matter what I do. I'm always gonna be at the bottom. I'm always gonna be underclass, and you see that in tech too, Leon. Like other black people tell you, like, "Oh man, only don't do coding. That's for Asians. Let them Asians do that." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I've actually heard that. Not, you bring up a point there, Citizen Lou, because I find when I get around my own and they're in the same curriculum I'm in or in the same field, they haven't made it. So they already have the defeatist attitude. So they're gonna try to influence me with their bad behavior. And I can't get with that. I
yeah,
can't get with that. Salute, brother Nate. You all wrenched up. Shout out to brother Melly Mel. Yeah, and that's a problem. It is our own. And how you gonna be pro-black when you hate individuals who don't think like you? Because usually a lot of these pro-blacks, let's just be honest, just like the guy that was up here. You asked him, Mel asked him, and Free Zone asked him. He got upset when you asked him how old he was.
yeah.
Okay,
It's just sensitive. Just
that's why I said that won't be on my panel again. And okay, um, the bottom line, we if my panel, your panel, we sound like an echo chamber. Look, we know how to give each other pushback, but be adult about it.
yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. It's like people will come at you sideways, disrespectful, then say, "Oh, you just don't like pushback. You just don't like it. You just mad. You don't like opposite opinions." It's like you can have
We
opposite
get them up
opinions.
here every time, but you don't hear them because the opinions we give are intellectual. Got Mel, shout out to he's in the building.
How you doing, brothers? How you doing?
What's up?
All
What's up?
right.
Uh,
Mel was on that panel too. All of you when we had that so-called, and he's not in. He said he won't come back to the panel again either.
that ain't made no damn sense. Lou didn't even call him a pro-black. He just said the name. And he got triggered.
Yeah, all I said was this is why I don't agree with most pro-black talking points. He just blew up.
Yeah, like
Because most pro-black talking points, you're eventually gonna sound like a white supremacist. It just happens. It's the law of evolution. You'll eventually, because if you look through a race perspective, eventually you're just gonna you're gonna get to that.
He actually blew up, and I had to had to do a Nate. I had to drop him off the panel, man.
Yeah, because most that most black people are actually white supremacists. Like that's why they say, math and studying and speaking articulate and stuff like that. They say that's doing white stuff, right? Like that's like ingrained white supremacy.
Yeah, I find
That's
that
a plantation mindset too.
Right.
good.
Yeah, they have the mindset of failure.
Yep, exactly.
And then when you call them on it, we're the ones who are the white supremacists. Oh, well, you want to do everything white. Well, first of all, not doing anything white. I've never heard Mel. I've never heard you. I've never heard Nate. We don't give a darn about the white man. I'm not threatened. I'm not inferior. They're the inferior ones. That's why. Because they're always going to be where they are. That's why they don't like people like us. They can't come over in our space. You know, that word conservative bothers them too. They think, oh, conservative means white. No, it doesn't. You got a lot of white liberals out there who influence a lot of black people into being liberals. Believe it or not, they don't ever say that. You look at TV every day, is white liberals, and they're mean. They talk a lot of junk. They're and you notice they're all emotional. You can't have a discussion, a serious discussion with them.
Nope.
You can't without them being hateful. And they're also childish as well.
Yeah. And these are like, and I'm, I don't know what people. I'm 28, right? I'd be 29 this month. And it's like I'll see cats like 50 in their 50s, 40s. You know what I mean? Like
let me tell you something. I'm 57, and the ones in my age bracket, the late 40s. Last Mel's in his 40s. He knows.
Early
the ones in their 40s. Man, some of them are the worst mamas.
Yeah, that Gen X. I'm
in Gen X.
That Gen X, boy. They some serious, boy.
So I already know what more complaining you could do. I'm like, damn, remind me of feminists. Like, damn, how much they gonna fight for rights now? What more they gonna fight for? Like, then like I tell feminists, there's gonna be another civil war. So like I tell feminists, there's gonna be another civil war with y'all now. It's gonna be between the natural born and the gender transformed.
Hey, that's wild. That's funny.
The real war is
they use them to form their agenda. Now they gonna want to throw it back on them.
The real war though is not with the women. Okay,
now that war's over.
It's with the guys. This is why I don't on my channel. I'll talk about behavior, but I'm getting in on these guys because the guys, they're supposed to be strong guys. A lot of these guys are weak. They embrace being feminine. I don't understand that. I mean, you look at some of these football players, and they don't look like the old football players. These guys, they get hit, they whine, roughing the passer, they tapped. I mean, they're weak. And when I was in the military, they were getting that way too. And I got the hell out.
They was putting something in the drugs or something like that? Making them whine like that? Damn.
And they're very, why these guys are emotional? Because they were raised by their mamas. And they love their mama too much. Well, hey. And many of them are really the man that their mama never had. They call them son husbands.
And that's the bigger doctrination right there. Like, they don't even know that they're following your mother's Miami program teaching. And then you wonder why you're feeling that life for women the way you is. You really can't get the success the way you think you is. You're not running your household you think you is. But
yeah.
From my point of view on that, some guys like being beta bitch boys, even to their own wives.
And it's very hard, and it's really very hard to deal with sensitive men. It's very hard, and
no, it is. You know what, Leon? I was gonna say something, right? I talked to somebody about like getting into tech, right? And they said, "Oh man, they wouldn't give me a job, and I'm black, and you got to be this and that to get one, right?" I asked him one question, Leon. Guess what it was?
What was it?
How many jobs did you apply for?
Uh-oh.
You know how many how many applied for, Leon?
0.
2.
2. Well, you gotta. See, that's another thing. Men aren't hustlers. Like, oh, they'll use the word hustler as far as the streets are
Yeah,
concerned.
for finessing and lying and other shit. But when it's hustle to like, you know what I
Take
mean?
the
Like,
skill, like you said, yeah, they learn some type of salesmanship, so you can take that to the job market. And they can't
And
apply
that's
that.
another reason why, another reason why men don't have money. Forgot to
why?
mention it because they're too busy tricking.
Mm,
Let's
you
just
right
be
about
honest.
that.
Freaking outside their own budget.
You right about
Well,
that. Money going out. You going to the strip club. You buying, chicks, and you buying Gucci belts and to trick off, to show off, and stuff like that. No, that's a fact. And man, I got one pair of shoes, Leon, right now. I need to get some more because he's getting kind of tight.
I only got a couple. Now I still got some of my old navy boots, and man, my cars, they're not even brand new. Okay.
Well, I mean, I got some boots, I got some dress shoes, I got some tennis shoes, I got some sandals.
Hey, hey,
That's what
hey,
but I need
oh,
to
I
get
got
some
some
more
too.
shoes.
I got some old core frames, some old spit shine somewhere too.
Right, exactly. I'm not walking out with furrow gummy belts and
I,
what I mean, none of that. It's just what I mean, because like I said, what I was saying earlier, that's feminine. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying because you can dress, you can wear anything and it look good. If you're in good shape or you dress well or you got your stuff fitted right and it's not too baggy or too tight, you know what I mean? It's not. You don't have to buy $300 for an outfit.
no, no.
In your budget. I mean, yeah, that's the whole thing. That people spend outside their own damn budget.
Well,
I mean, if you got the dough to afford it, as long as you put your money in this
well,
invest,
well,
where it's supposed
well,
to be,
with, with
and
these brothers, they don't even know about a budget. Heck, they don't even know they don't even know what a spreadsheet is.
exactly.
Tell them to get on the spreadsheet, man. List everything, and that's and I'm sure you used one before, Citizen Lewis. You used Excel.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
You know what's so funny, man? With the tech business, there's so many job opportunities. I mean, you can even create your own opportunities. I mean, come on.
You can, Mel. Excellent point. And then that's
Yeah.
another thing too. Like I don't care how you do it. You know what I mean? As long as you do it, as long as you do something. I don't care if you working a job or you not working. As long as you're doing something. You know what I
Shout
mean?
out to Little Big Nate. They act like black women in the sisterhood. Facts.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
They be
They do.
gossiping like hoes and
Oh yeah.
kikiing and chi-chiing and you know what I mean? Like it's just yeah, like
That's why I can't deal with a panel like that. A bunch of gossip and like I said, you got to keep I keep my format, 6 people on the panel. That's
yeah, I
it.
like that format. I had to start doing it on my panels because
Yeah, fall.
them 10 nigga panels, Leon, that shit, it just get
You
too
can't do it.
you just can't do it. You just can't. It's
It,
impossible.
it won't work because you're gonna get some knuckleheads in there.
Yeah, and you know what? Even if like they're not knuckleheads, eventually like people are just gonna like start talking over each other, even by
Yeah.
like accident. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, it's just really hard to control a panel.
right.
I don't like a panel. I think 6. I keep it there, and I'm not one that's going to get. I mean, unless I do something magical, have 1,000. I'm not a Minister Jack that size channel, so I don't need a panel that big. It just individuals won't stay on the top. And now there are a couple guys I know. You've heard of him. T has a panel that big, and shout out to him. He handles it. He has a panel that big.
You know what's so funny though? What bugged me out? People doing panels that's like 6 or 7 and more hours. I'm like, damn, like how long you gonna be on it? For
My
12
bad,
hours?
family.
Yeah, he had a couple 12-hour panels.
Yeah, no, but you know another thing too, Leon. I was gonna say like when you were talking about because it ties into these panels like these dudes like they got all these liberal arts degrees. I call them Facebook arguing degrees, right? Like all they really do is teach you how to just argue on Facebook. Like it's nothing really tangible.
Right.
And that's why I say about these dudes, they're not really doing anything tangible. Like they're not talking about skills or infrastructure or
even
economics.
like how they really can maneuver the business and stuff. They,
I mean, another.
and they get angry at some business run and like technically you don't really know the business like you think you do and stuff. There's certain levels of what I'm saying, that you have to maneuver, get into the business when we deal with certain people and stuff. You can't carry the same rah energies too much all the time and everything because shit. I mean, that's a whole different type of class. It's like they say you're supposed to act red pill but not talk red pill outside of these spaces because that could fuck you. You can lose a lot of job partnerships and everything like that. You just carry a lot of anger. Okay, we tell you that certain things to be aware, but you don't have to keep repeating what you hear and talk about out in the street. You're supposed to act it, but still network with people. Like, come on, like.
And another thing, you got to watch who you bring in. Watch your audience, watch who you bring in your panel. I mean, I like I like having a certain type of audience, and it's not controlling the narrative. It's you want to control your panel because hey, look, your brand, you're your own brand, and after a while, people aren't going to come watch you if you are gossiping all day. You got to have something tangible, like. I had to bring up, and that's another thing we do too much as black men. I see more black men gossiping. I never seen that before.
Yeah, we talking about other YouTubers
but even when I go to work, bro, I see it. I'm like, wow. I mean, they gossip.
Yeah, that's what happened. Oh, go ahead.
It's just something that I never grew up with. I mean, hey, you sucked it up. That's it. Yeah, you can cry away from people, but a man is supposed to be logical. He's supposed to be a problem solver. He's supposed to have critical thinking. He's not supposed to be emotional where he's in his feelings all the time.
I'm gonna do what you did, Leo. I'm just gonna make another channel. I was thinking about rebranding it. My channel.
No, make another.
Yeah.
And yeah, you bring it up there, put it in there because I'll put your channel up there. I'll spam your channel in. A lot of people don't do that, but I said the guys I listen to, I'll put their channels right in my chat. So if they come back in there and look at the video, they can click on the link to your channel because I look at it. We got to support the people in this space. I don't care if you got 50 subscribers or 3,000 subscribers. All content is relevant in this space.
That's what I was thinking. Like, it's no shade, brother, but I kind of looked at my analytics and I kind of saw like where all my audience was coming from, stuff like that, and it makes sense. But I was kind of like, when I do like programming stuff, they just don't want to see it. You know what I mean?
You know why? Well,
they just don't want to see it. Like,
I'm gonna tell you why. Well, what you're doing is maybe that's a little bit above their heads. You talk about coding. I mean, you tell them about AWS and you tell them about Python and object-oriented language. They're not going to know what that is. C. What are they? Are you still programming in C or C++?
No, I mean mostly JavaScript.
Oh, Java. Yeah,
Keep teaching it, no matter what.
C programming. I know they still have that out, but the problem with that is, and I was writing a code for a C program, and I forgot a semicolon. I had to go back and compile that thing, and I had so many errors for one semicolon because you got to write semicolons after everything. Or you do forward slash or backward slash.
No, it's just semicolon. You're right, semicolon. When you end a statement.
I actually, believe it or not, when it comes to programming language, I like Python better.
It's more. I tell people you really can't go wrong learning Python. It's like Python and JavaScript. You really can't go wrong with either. If you have both, that's even better. But one or the other, you're still good.
C programming, if you're in manufacturing, they still love using C.
Yeah, because C is a low level language where it communicates with the hardware and stuff like
Right.
that. And
So when
then
you're doing pro, now this is probably I'm gonna probably lose some listeners on this because we're talking tech stuff, spreadsheets, but that's okay. Yeah, when you go into PLCs, which is um, I think it's programming logic code controllers,
okay,
PLCs. They use a lot of C programming, and
that makes sense.
yeah, and now in engineering, I used to use it's still around, but I call it a dead language. It's called Fortran. It's still around. They don't use it
Yeah, I think my dad was using Fortran in college. I think he told me about that.
now. Now there's one out there called C sharp, Visual Basic C
C
sharp.
sharp. Yeah, that's the one Microsoft made. It's like a faster version or better, like an improved version of Java.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I think that's a little easier to use than C.
Yeah. C is that's like what I mean, like the granddaddy of all languages, right? Like that's
Yeah,
where it
because
all
that came
starts.
before C
Yeah.
plus plus.
Right. Yeah. It's
Well, there's another one out. If you're in math, it's called MATLAB. I love that language.
I've heard of it. I've heard MATLAB. Yeah, I've heard
It's
MATLAB.
it's pretty. To me, that's easier than Python because if, you write a pro. I can code that. I can write a code function X Y and it'll compile that. It'll spit everything out. But like I said, getting into spreadsheet, yeah. If you don't know anything else, learn a spreadsheet.
No, I feel you on that. Yeah, but like I said, I think I'm gonna make another channel, just like a like my professional channel, because
I think it's a good. I think it's good to do that. I do that because okay, I know, and I've some of your panels are late when they're a little earlier. I hop up on them. I'll try to hop up on support you, but I notice, and that's another thing that we have here. When it comes to this space, it's too oriented. They'll sit up all day for the drama, but they don't want to listen to anything that's actually pertinent.
yeah, I know, right?
I mean, I can't sit there and argue with somebody over some crazy stuff. It just won't work.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I mean, to me, I mean, how are we going to push generations forward? I mean, you got to have the technology, and we need to do more technology stuff, guys.
Yeah, we do. That's a
That,
fact.
that's why on my other channel, I mean, I've started doing stuff like I'm going to talk about the 80/20, how to create a Pareto chart, with some data. I can take data right off the spreadsheet, and if you go into Microsoft Office 2016 and now, you can actually create a Pareto chart from Excel. From Excel.
Okay.
And I mean, I think IT is a very useful length, useful career. I mean, I didn't realize there are not enough people in IT. Even with it out there, there are not enough people in it.
No, it's not, and it's the market is booming.
Exactly.
You know why? Because it's hard. Okay.
Everybody, it's like a lot of people are like they'll try and then they'll get stuck on something they'll get stuck, right? And then instead of like persevering through it, they'll just like, oh, I can't do this. And you look at what they got stuck on, you're like, bro, come on, bro, like that you forgot a semicolon and you quit. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it didn't work.
Heck, you got to recompile it.
That's the
Yeah.
problem. Like, people don't want to sit and just figure out stuff for a while. And after a while, you might deliver a rhythm that, I could, all the practice I did and everything, now I break it down to like, as the, like those, like the books, for for dummies in a way, like that way.
Yeah.
Basic model for your own understanding. Then you'll get it. And stuff. I'm relearning HTML and everything. I was good
Oh,
and
so,
everything, web design and stuff. Yeah, so I'm relearning that. Brush up on that. My advancement to me. I know like 1% of JavaScript and PHP, but I want to master that also too. So
and I think what is it? You know CSS too, Mel.
yeah,
See that HTML? That's website design.
like this. You think of like
Yeah.
skeleton, like the skeleton that holds the body up for the design. Yeah, like typing the HTML, you just do the code of HTML and CS. That's the design part.
Yeah, and they've actually like thanks to like React, the Facebook's open open source software, you can now kind of like use HTML and JavaScript together for the UI on software.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
like React is like YouTube uses React. I'm sure StreamYard. I think let me see. Yeah, StreamYard uses React to do the UI that we're looking at right now.
Yes.
Facebook obviously uses it. Snapchat, I think, uses it. Yeah,
If
so
you really want to know how something is coded, I've always taken a look at how stuff was coded. Oh, we got a man coming up. What's up, Nate? If you really want to know how something is
what up, Nate?
What up, gentlemen?
You got YouTube in the back.
Yeah,
Nate.
so you got YouTube in the back.
Oh, my bad. My apologies.
Hey, what's up? Hey, we were waiting for you, bro.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, what's going on? Well, brother Nate was learning some AWS down there, and Theo taught it.
Yeah, and I'm in the class. I got some catching up to do. I took a few weeks off after my accident and stuff. So yeah,
Hey, shout out to you. And sorry, I missed your panel because I know you've changed because we're all talking about the changes that we've done. I know you don't have panels on Tuesday and Thursday, but I spammed your channel in there, brother.
No, I was on this Tuesday and Thursday.
Yeah, so I missed it on Thursday. I know Tuesday
Okay.
I was in the chat. And,
Okay, gotcha.
Hey, don't forget to pick up your cash apps either.
Yes, sir. Always.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
get your money. But yeah, I'm glad you stayed around because we were talking about where black people spend their money.
Yes, sir. Where do we spend our money?
I mean,
As long as it involves frivolity and foolishness, we're there, man. We are there. Nothing long term, nothing long range. We won't even buy life insurance. For God's sakes. White people have their there's a term, their net something, their value or their
Net worth.
Okay, yeah, because of real estate and insurance. That's what makes white people so much more significantly successful than us financially.
Right.
In their families. White folks get a house, they don't not pay the goddamn taxes on it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What? You lose a house because you didn't pay the taxes. You and your grown brother and sister couldn't get together and pay the taxes on this fucking house. Are you serious?
Some of them don't, Nate. Like up in Gary, one of the reasons why those houses just sat there because the kids didn't pay the taxes on them.
Tax liens, yeah.
Yeah, they just moved out, and guess what? The houses became blighted. That's why you got hoods. They boarded them up.
No, that's not why we got hoods. Leon, we got hoods because of white folks. Come on now.
Oh, yeah. Well, the ghetto, though, the ghetto was actually started by Jews and Italians. The ghetto.
Absolutely. The Gangs of New York. You ever see that movie?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, really crazy depiction of what happened in the 1800s in New York, man. Oh. But yeah, man. I mean, we spend our money on all the wrong things. We'd rather look wealthy than be wealthy.
That's true.
And these are really feminine tendencies, like to flash, the need to flash, and somebody talked about criminals. I think it was Antisocial Socialite. Criminals committing the crime and then showing off the money or whatever their gains were on social media. I've told y'all I love the show First 48.
Yes.
You would not believe the number of times they utilize Facebook and Instagram to catch the perpetrators.
Well, you know, Nate, I did a video a long time ago about criminal, about it is still up. You know, about black a brother going to the store. Number one, he has an illegal gun, so he's going to get a
Of
charge
course,
for
of course, of course.
that. He's going
Can't
to
just
go
go get a legal firearm.
well, he's gonna go rob the store for $20. That's a charge.
Yeah.
Then he's gonna kill the clerk. So you went in there and did all that work for $20, and guess what? You're getting life. And I said in that video, just in this voice, brothers, don't be a criminal. Please don't be a criminal. You're not good at it.
And black people will wear T-shirts and demand that man be freed. Free Junebug or free Switchblade or whatever the nigga's name is.
That's what his name is. We name him these.
Yeah, dog.
We tend to celebrate the life of imprisonment from black men. And, these black men today, they don't value themselves, bro.
No. I think we have a growing class of black men that are coming to some really profound realizations, politically and socially. There's a reason 51%, of black men aren't married. They're just not playing this game anymore. A lot of them.
No.
They're just not playing this.
But they got to stay off that Democratic Party, though, bro.
Yes, they do.
The other day I heard, I couldn't believe it was Charlemagne. He said, "Man, where's Trump?"
Trump back? Yes.
Charlemagne said that.
Yes, sir. Indeed. Highest inflation since Carter.
Gas.
Some of the most abysmal job numbers in the last 50 years. Every jobs quarter is significantly lower than what they forecast. Right. It's a nightmare, man. There's nobody at the wheel. Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Camilla would be worse than Biden. As bad as Biden is, Camilla would be worse. Giving that demonic female power. She's a figurehead largely right now. But
and speaking of that, Joe Biden wants to put a black female in
the Supreme Court.
So he's doing that for the symbolism.
Be glad they're not adding to the Supreme Court. Another 5 people or 3 people. They wanted to stack the court originally.
Yeah, they wanted to put 13 in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And who's somebody's about to retire?
Justice Breyer is about to retire.
Really? Okay.
So Joe Biden wants to put a black female in the Supreme Court, just a black female.
Yeah, which how disrespectful that's the only qualifier, or that's the first qualifier is the most important qualifier. Not having the legal having the legal experience, not being a star pupil, or having a justice that you worked for that could speak highly of you.
Right.
No, you just we want a black female.
Symbolism. That's it. Joe Biden.
I think that's going to cause a lot of strife too in the Supreme Court.
Oh wow, yeah. Can you imagine Miss Lady fussing?
And then everybody else had to kind of get it out the mud, and you just, you know what I mean? You just kind of got there because you're a black woman. It's
that's the whole problem. I mean, I heard there's a place down in Georgia. The whole I can't remember the city. All black females are running that, the criminal justice system. So if you're a brother, you go down there and you're hated, expect to go to jail.
I don't know why that was funny. But it's the truth. I mean, they never bring up, like, in these Democrat cities how just awful they are. I mean, it's just crazy. It's like the land. Like, you look at Atlanta, Baltimore, Detroit, like the land of black male death. And they all in Chicago, they all got women mayors. black women marry.
Well, Baltimore has Baltimore and New York have males, but
didn't the Baltimore mayor or the former one just get indicted or some shit?
Mosley, Marilyn Mosley. Yes, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you gotta love it though. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
You know, and of course there's corrupt Republicans. I mean, but I mean, when you add the corruption on top of the disregard for your citizen safety, the disregard for your police force, and pandering, Antifa and BLM, dude, they've all had to walk back their talk of defunding the police. You're gonna defund the people that keep you and your property and your families protected. Really?
Now, was it out there in California? Citizen Lou was out there where they actually had the. I saw a gang of brothers out there robbing TVs from a train. I don't know if that was.
Oh yeah, they're robbing trains. You know, all the Amazon and UPS packages that might be on the train. Yeah, dude, I saw that too. And nothing but trash all over the train tracks. Just tons of trash from the thefts. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's lawless. States like California and New York, Illinois are lawless.
You know what's funny? I got to slide out, guys. But I was going to say that movie came out too with they robbing trains. That Jay-Z movie with The Harder They Fall. That's, I don't know. It just kind of just plays into that theory that black people really like live in TV. Like black people.
When
really
did that come out? Harder They Fall.
Yeah, it came out in like October. It was like it's kind of pro black. It's not. It's sort of pro blackity.
Is it on Netflix or something?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but all right, fellas. I'll talk to you guys later. I got
all right, peace. I'll be up next Friday. Let me know when you're streaming there, Citizen Lou.
All right, brother. Y'all have a good one.
You too, bro. Be safe.
Peace, bro.
Black female empowerment, the way y'all talking about it. You know, there's a movie coming out by Viola Davis called The Woman King.
What?
Bruh, every movie is a tribute to women being able to beat the shit out of men. That's all
like
most
the Equalizer
are now.
Nah, it's like an African tribe. You know, she leads empowerment. You know,
dude, this shit is so played. It's to the point of being it's corny and it's insulting. Yeah, all this pandering to us. I don't want any parts of this shit. None.
It's what they be making, and Oprah's behind it.
Oprah. Oh my God.
No, not this movie. I'm talking about another movie.
Oh, okay.
The Color Purple. Musical.
Oh yeah, The Color Purple started all this nonsense.
Yeah, isn't it funny? And wasn't it
a musical? Fantasia just won the part of Shirley.
Oh wow.
Got Taraji B. Henson in it too, also.
Oh Lord.
Oh man. Yo, that movie
I won't be watching that.
Blow it up.
No, and these movies are bombing. The new Star Wars bombed. The Ghostbusters recreation with the females bombed. A lot of these movies are bombing. Thank God.
The Afterlife was way better. Shit.
Well, they had one out there, and I don't know how it was doing. It was called Respect. Some lady played Aretha Franklin. I don't know how that is. I mean, I haven't heard too much.
Well, see, I mean, Aretha Franklin's story, of course, you got to have a woman for that. I ain't gonna that.
Yeah.
But, Captain Marvel, making Captain Marvel a woman and all the, not only just the placing women where they don't belong, but forcing the LMNOP mess down our throats too, dog. It is insane. It is insane. I want no parts of this shit.
What's her name? Trisha Thompson, who played Valkyrie in the Thor movie. Dying to have a female love interest. Bad. I'm like,
yeah, dog. You cannot escape this. These people account for less than 4% of our population. The Transformers and the LMNOPers, and they
got all that power,
all this shit down our throats.
Yep.
It's so funny. They're a small community, and yet they got a big influence.
Because they had money.
I was on one of this new chick. You heard Melanie King?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was asked a question the other day when she was online, don't know what she actually is about fully and everything, but she was talking about, no, people think I'm a comedian. She went a little rant. I don't know, and I try to tell, like, this is the Mansfield community. Period. We're a growing community. Period. Even in the YouTube space, she came at me like, "But you're still a small community. That's a small community, very, very small, like niche." I was like trying to tell her, like, it doesn't matter if it's small niche. Most businesses, they pay attention to small things. If it's growing, they don't put money.
This small community of men has very influential people listening to it.
Exactly.
That'll never let us know, from what I understand, behind the scenes.
Oh,
There's some heavyweight folks listening to us, dog.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing about it is, and I'll tell you, Nate, you were there. I wish Mel was down there. That meetup in Atlanta,
Yes, sir.
that threw a lot of the leftist black men for a loop.
They lost their shit. They lost their shit when we did this.
Still don't understand. Well, how did these guys do that? Because they expected it not to happen, and correct all the kinks out. It's going to be better in 22 than it was.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. Obsidian's having his thing in Philly in June. Me and my son plan on being there. Well, is that something you might consider?
In Philly, if I'm invited, no.
Well,
Yeah.
everybody now Obsidian hasn't sent out the invitations yet, but Obsidian already said that everybody that was at the Manosphere meetup is going to be invited to his.
I didn't even know he was. Yeah, and is Bernard. I know you were on him. He hadn't been up as much lately either.
What do you mean?
I haven't seen anything from Bernard lately.
No, Bernard's been. He broadcasted yesterday. He's
okay. You know what it is? YouTube, because I know Tommy Jean had that problem. You know what YouTube did to her and me? A lot of the people that we were subscribed to
just unsubscribed you.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, I heard about that too.
Tommy Jean had everybody on. She had to go back and all over again. And I'm subscribed to Bernard, and I wasn't getting his notifications, and they had me unsubscribed. So
wow, yeah, dog. Bernard's been broadcasting. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to know when he's broadcasting, but it's just that a lot of people are making like me. I kind of tweaked it a little bit because I don't care if people call it an echo chamber. Some people call us an echo chamber. Nate, Mel, we're not an echo chamber. They call us an echo chamber. Oh, everybody agrees. No, there's a difference between disagreeing and having something in common. We get down to, we can disagree, but come to some common solutions.
And we can discuss our disagreements without
being yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's the problem with so many individuals in this space. And that word conservative, there are just some individuals that don't know what conservative means. You can't be pro-black. Now, I do. What is that guy's name? I do like him.
TVA.
I like TVA.
I like him too. I like TVA. I think TVA is a cool dude. He does carry that pro-black idea and attitude, and it really conflicts with his conservative beliefs. It just does, and it seems like it's difficult to have those two competing ideas in your head, and I think that's where he makes his mistakes sometimes. But he's a cool dude though. Yeah,
but he shouldn't have gone up there with Tommy like that.
No, that was a mistake.
Spinning and Tommy wanted another grand from him too.
I saw that too, man. That was wrong.
No, what are you doing? What are you doing? I mean, I know he wanted those views, but you spending the grand? Tommy gonna take your money.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As he should.
But hey, capitalism.
You gonna pay it? Shit. Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, man, that was kind of crazy.
I don't know. I wouldn't have done it. I'm like, it isn't worth it. And I mean, he's a pretty smart dude, but the pro-blackism, pro-black is just another. Look, I can say we're pro-black. Look, we're black, but we're not what you call the
Hoteps.
hoteps. That's the hoteps are leftists. Hey, I'm proud to be black because that's
Absolutely. I'm pro-black patriarchy. I'm pro-black us participating in the free market economy.
Is
I'm
that
pro-black family. Absolutely.
pro black.
Yes.
Nobody said
in that sense? Yeah, like
Absolutely. But
gender gender roles. Exactly.
absolutely.
But see, the other
Absolutely.
pro blacks that we're talking about, the conscious ones, they have this magicalness. And you know what I'm going to say, where the ABW is God and everything.
Oh, yeah.
That's the kind. Really, that kind of hotepism is simpism.
And they use our race as a weapon. They use it like it's a weapon against people. And I don't like that either.
They do. And they, on one hand, they want to be a victim, and on the other hand, they talk about
But
being.
they're the supreme, They're the cream of the universe, but you're a victim. I don't get it.
And how many of them have? And a lot of them, they don't have any power. They don't have any economics. That's why I did tonight's topic. I mean, I broke down how much we're spending. I mean, like you said, Nate, when it comes to foolishness, we'll buy.
Yes. Yeah, it's unfortunate, man.
We
I
broke.
mean, and when you look at them, anyone who follows the ABW, how do you justify following the woman? They follow the women. They do the bidding of the women. The women call the shots. They're scared of the females. Dude, No, thank you.
I already know what the problem is. You know why they do it? You already know, and I already know. We're all Gen Xers up here. That's why they do it. It ain't even about going to bed with them.
Money and sex.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's the woman that has the stable corporate dependable job. She's paying the rent, and he gets to be, the weekend Shaka Zulu warrior or whatever. It's such nonsense.
But that's what some of them want, though. They want that power, so they get a low tier man, so they can have that power.
Yeah, most don't make
all backwards.
Yeah, most of them don't make more than $75,000 a year.
Yeah, and like I said, you got a lot of these. You got a lot of these weak brothers out here, they're always going to be like that too. And it has nothing to do with race. And I see, we had some good brothers in Gen X. I think the worst generation, though, my opinion, it was the one before us. That's really when it all started. Maybe the later baby, not the early baby boomers, but the later ones, and then it kind of fed into our generation. That's where, individuals born like in the early 60s, maybe the late 50s. And they went to college in the 70s, because that's when you actually saw most of this nonsense in the 70s.
Think about how corrosive the culture was. Free love, drugs. Use whatever drug you want. Tripping on LSD, and dude, I mean, the culture was just disgusting. Like in the late 60s,
late 60s,
70s. Yeah. Ugh.
And you realize
no wonder they turned out so terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. You realize another big factor also to that too. You just said college. College is where they really indoctrinate a lot of people with certain.
Yes, they do.
And if you speak up against it, you guys are professional professor who's going to kick you out of class for speaking your part of the truth, or he'll give you he or she will give you an F on purpose. It's like this is supposed to be a mind of actual critical thinkers, or think for ourselves and everything. And you're trying to indoctrinate us to think your way. Like no, like this ain't really what college is. I'm paying hundreds of dollars just to have a professor kick me out for having my own mind of certain things. Most of the professors don't even know shit. They never even been in the neighborhoods.
No, most of them
black issues in the poor neighborhood in the way. For example, shout out to this one YouTuber I listen to me, Real Femme Sapien. She said herself, like most of these professors ain't never been in these neighborhoods and stuff. And that you're trying to teach history about it because what you read in the book. or what you assume, what you know in the book, or what people say. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, they will never go in the neighborhood, but they talk about how unfair it is. Well, if it's your district, you need to go in that neighborhood. Check it out. Get carjacked one day. What is her name?
It was two.
Corey Bush. I think that's the Democrat in Missouri. She got carjacked.
And there was a white lady either in New
Democrat, by
Jersey
the
or
way, bro.
Pennsylvania that got carjacked around the same time. Both of them had called for defund the police.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I think they're going to take a moment to reconsider that. Defunding the police. That'll never work. That'll never work. These leftists out here, and I'm not saying vote Republican. I'm saying vote, if you're a brother, vote the best interest of black men. And
a 411 Mary Gay Scanion, a Democrat of Pennsylvania, was carjacked also at gunpoint in Philadelphia. Same time.
Damn. Wow.
That's what they get. I don't feel sorry for him either. Not a bit.
And I heard that mayor up in Mel lives up in New York that knew that. What is his name? Eric somebody? That black
Eric. Yeah.
Man,
he's no good either.
Oh, dude, of course not.
Man, we just had a little girl, man, got arrested for when she went to the museum for not being vaccinated. And the police came and arrested her.
Arrested for not being vaccinated.
Exactly. I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, you know what? We got this new black mayor. What do you think about this? Why ain't no post of him saying this thing about this? Ain't nothing.
Wow. You know, BLM was arguing against all the vax mandates and mask mandates.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's this restaurant, some black women were trying to go into a restaurant, and one of them showed a fake vaccine card, and there was some big brouhaha, and BLM came out, and it's just disgusting. I thank God I don't live in a blue state. I swear to you.
You know who's getting slammed?
Playing.
You know who's getting slammed right now too?
Who?
CNN.
Oh my God, CNN is going. Jeff Zucker resigned.
Was he the pedo? Chris Cuomo.
Chris Cuomo's producer got picked up on pedophile charges, and also Jake Tapper's producer, Jake Tapper. His producer was picked up on pedo charges too. Yes, sir.
All that bullshit that they were talking.
Just trash.
Trash.
The whole network is trash.
Trash.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think Chris Cuomo got fired from CNN, if I'm not mistaken.
I hope so. I hope they all get fired.
Or suspended one of them, but that's what happens. Look, that's karma. What comes around goes around. Now, I don't watch the other network either. I'm not much of Fox. I mean, Tucker's okay.
Yeah, I like the nighttime folks. You know, Hannity's cool. Ingram. I never really been a fan of Ingram. You know, she's okay. I don't have anything against her. But Tucker's on point. Absolutely.
The problem I have with Laura Ingram is, she, in my humble opinion, she's a rhino.
I get rhino vibes from her too.
I'm sorry, I do. The only two that I really like are Hannity and Tucker.
Yeah, Tucker's cool, man. Yeah, I actually enjoy.
Now there's another guy. He was Bill O'Reilly's producer.
Yeah, the black dude. He has a. You talk about the black guy?
Lawrence Jones. He has a Saturday show.
He's got a show. Yeah, it came out. I think it started a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Now there's another guy, Jesse Waters, who's part of the
younger dude. Yeah,
he's on at 7. He used to be Bill O'Reilly's producer. He's on. I mean, so, but during the daytime, I don't know, man.
Well, they got rid of Chris Wallace. That's good.
Yes, they did. Well, he left.
Chris Wallace.
Chris Wallace went to CNN, I think.
I know. He went to CNN online or some shit. Yeah. I don't even think he's on CNN, like the network. I think he's online doing something.
Well, Chris Wallace wasn't as good as his father on 60 Minutes.
Not even close. I'm sorry. Chris Wallace is terrible.
Terrible.
Absolutely.
I mean, I remember when he was working at ABC.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Now, somebody else that used to work at ABC, Britt Hume. I mean, he's still back there, but he's not on there full time. He was good.
Oh yeah, Britt Hume, absolutely.
You know who else left a long time ago? He was a black dude named Juan Williams.
Oh, I couldn't stand Juan Williams.
No, I couldn't.
Juan Williams. Oh, I thought he's not on the 5 anymore.
Nope.
Really?
He said it was too conservative for him, so they now they did put another guy in. He's pretty cool now. He's a Blue Dog Democrat, Harold Ford from Tennessee.
The super light skinned cat. Yeah, I know you're talking about. Yeah.
I'm like, well, all you did was just put. You just put a. He has a D by his name, but he's extremely conservative. Harold Ford.
He's smart enough to see the writing on the wall. I think.
You don't have those types of blue dolls, just like Joe Manchin. Manchin right now is the one saving us right now.
Saved the voting from being federalized. Absolutely.
And Chris Sonoma,
same thing. Yeah, she voted against it.
We're going to see how they vote on this judge.
Yeah, we shall see. When is Breyer leaving? At least it's an even exchange. I mean, Breyer was a liberal, so
Yeah, Breyer was a liberal.
Yeah, Breyer was a liberal.
He was a liberal. It's still going to be 6'3".
Yeah, it's still 6'3".
Absolutely. It's not going to do anything. I mean, it's not going to do anything. But if they want to, because all the women there are, for the most part, all the women there are.
Yeah, the Latina. What's her name? I forgot.
Sotomayor.
Sotomayor. Yeah, she's.
And then there was another one, Kagan. Kagan never even went to court. She was an instructor over at Harvard. And she
hardcore feminist leftist. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hardcore.
And can't have them running our country.
Well, bruh, with the bloodbath that's going to take place in November, it's going to take decades for not decades, possibly decades for them to recover from losing what some anticipate may be as many as 100 seats. 100.
It could be. Shout out to brother ECX. Black people spend their money on BS overall and don't save much. Facts, brother Nate already pointed that out.
Yes, sir. It's unfortunate, man. Very unfortunate.
But you know what, bro? You said something on your channel a long time ago, and I still think about it. The Democratic Party,
very unfortunate.
They're going to be nothing more than just a few leftist black men and maybe most black women.
Bruh, the white Democrat is about to go extinct. They are getting rid of all these white Democrats are about to lose. Damn near all of them.
And most of your black Democrats are, guess where they're going to be? In your cities.
Major cities, absolutely.
They're all going to be run down.
On the East Coast and West Coast for the most part.
Yeah. We got St. Louis, I think. Yeah, St. Louis. You got some of the Midwest, like Chicago.
True, and Michigan, Detroit. Yeah.
Detroit. But for the most part, East Coast and West Coast.
That is it. And oh my God, the Democratic Party will be comprised of black women, a smaller number of black men, and some Latinos, some Asians, but it will be a minority party for the foreseeable future, dog.
They might be a minority party till we perish.
Yeah, yes. And that would suit me just fine.
That would.
How are they going to bounce back with a platform of open borders, LMNOPism, transformerism? How are you? They can never bounce back with a platform like they're going to have to abandon all that shit and try to get back to some type of traditional values type shit. I don't even know how they would do that.
It's just not going to work because then they're going to look like they're just spinning.
Yeah. It looks like
it's not going to work. Once you look in politics, once you go in a direction, that's the direction that you're going to be looked at.
Yes, exactly.
Now, yes, there are some exceptions to the rule to where they can change policies or positions, but with these extremists out here, especially, look where that's why Mel's got to get out of New York, boy. Good God, got to get out of that state.
Hey, you like living in New York, Mel?
Yeah.
You do? Okay, I hear you, man.
Yeah, hey, Mel, did you all get any snow out there?
Oh no, it's no melted with rain, but now
Yeah, we got hit hard with about 12 inches here.
we got the ice rain. Man. I was gonna
Yeah.
go out some deliveries. I can't. My car's frozen up on the windows.
Yeah,
Like, I got left my scraper in storage and shit.
oh, yeah, because I remember you all got hit like 2 weeks ago.
Hmm?
I remember New York got hit a couple weeks ago.
I can't do that snow, man. That's too much, though.
Yeah, we just got hit over, and right now, you know what it is here? It's about 16 degrees. It's going down to 0 tonight.
I'll be honest with you. There is some aspect I like of it, being in a warm, cozy house. You know, it's snowing outside. That's not. You got your lady there. I'm sure that's nice. You know, nice, cool. Calm. Just warm and toasty inside. But dude, when you gotta go outside, I can't do it, man. I'm sorry.
I'm pretty good here. I told me Jane here. Yeah, it was Indiana, Latin Patriot. 12 inches here, and that storm moved. It's kind of what Mel and them get a nor'easter. This was a different one. This one came like from way across northeast, and it cut through because I live in the middle third of Indiana. If you cut Indiana into 3 regions, that's where it came. Indianapolis. So people like in Louisville, they got ice. People who are north, they got snow, and we got some more lurking.
Good God. Well, God bless you, man. Ooh, that is rough. I mean, and have you ever lived in a place that didn't catch that kind of snow? I mean, you lived in Maryland, which is terrible.
Snow there. The only place, I was down in Texas. They don't really get it.
No, Texas, awesome.
Yeah. Now I lived in Norfolk, Virginia. They didn't really get much snow either. I mean, they got some.
Doesn't DC, Northern Virginia, I would think, probably get some.
Oh yeah,
snow.
they get hammered. Right around DC, they get hammered.
Yeah, that's what I would think. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because my mom and them, they got 10 inches not too long ago. So
wow.
you come up to this part of the country, you gonna get some snow, because the funny thing is when I drove down to Atlanta, we drove down there and we were cold. Got down there, it was about 70 degrees down there. I'm like, wow, what a change.
Bro, if South Carolina got 6 inches of snow, the entire state would shut down. Shut down.
They don't have any equipment down there?
It would shut down because nobody would leave their house out of fear. Because people do not know how to handle the snow. When we hear snow is coming, the goddamn shelves at the grocery store are bare. Because people go and shop and plan. Oh my God, we're gonna have less than an inch of snow for 8 hours. So we got to make sure we have enough food and water and shit. They go crazy down here when they hear it's going to be snowing. And the snow, it never sticks for more than like a day or two.
I mean, don't you all get cold down there, like in the 30s down there? I mean,
yeah, it'll get cold in January. Yeah, you'll have a month of cold. I've never seen it snow in December. It'll snow in January, but they just don't know what to do with that. And that's just true throughout the South. If you hear there's going to be snow, people get worried. They go to the supermarket, they get food, because they do not want to have to leave the house. That's just how things go down there.
Yeah, Latin says the guy that got blocked wasn't wrong, though. Everyone should always have emergency food. Well, yeah, water storage. It's the tradition to have emergency food storage for many folks since the 1930s. Well, that is a fact.
Yeah, absolutely. Should have
water. See, living up here, I know where it snows. Nobody really. Well, I can't say if they're from warmer states, they're going to panic. I'll tell people, if you coming from the warm states, this is not for you. Conscious Effect says it's snow here in Texas. They took all the bread.
Dude, I'm telling you, they'll take all of like water, gone. Certain types of food, gone. Soups, gone. Because it's gonna snow, dude. Yes, I am not kidding you.
Yeah. And
Lord, boy. Oh, that snow, man. That's the one thing I do not miss at all.
oh man, you know, it's
What do you do? You got snow tires? You got chains? What do you do?
well, I don't have chains. I mean, I got 4-wheel drive.
Okay.
No,
You got all-wheel drive.
Not
Okay.
a Buick that we got doesn't have 4-wheel drive, so I take the 4-wheel drive. Now, if it does get, I mean, it's gotta really be bad for us to put chains on.
Gotcha.
God, I've only had to when I lived in Maryland back in 04, 05, and in the 90s. Yeah, I had to put the chains on. I hate putting those things on.
Oh, gotcha.
And it is, man, I've lived in some snow. Yeah, I mean, 78, 79, and 83, 80. Man, yeah. And it's not over yet.
Cool deal. You like Indiana, though? You like it?
Yeah, it's a red state. It's a beautiful state.
Cool.
Look, you have to, when you go and live somewhere, there's another thing people really don't understand. You got to look at the politics, too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
If you don't live in red states, now the thing of it is, you want to make sure that the lefties that come from blue states and the red states know what time it is, because what they bring with them is their ideology they left.
That's why they flip Texas blue.
They trying to flip it blue.
No, it'll never happen.
It'll never happen.
It'll never happen.
It'll never happen. I mean, Georgia got lucky, and I bet you Georgia won't flip blue this time, though.
There was a special election about 4 or 5 months ago in Texas. A 75% Hispanic county flipped from Biden during the election to they voted in a Republican congressperson for the first time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the Latinos are absolutely abandoning the Democrat Party in the South. Completely abandoning it.
Well, since it is the election season, you and I and the rest of us who are up there need to start putting out some more political content.
Absolutely.
I'm going to do that. PowerPoints and everything. We need to all do that. Everybody, SKC. In fact, I did rent you up, brother Nate.
Appreciate that.
I spammed your channel in there, and I'm at the 3:30 mark, and I'm gonna get off and finish cooking. I'm gonna eat, spend some time with Tommy Jean here. And
cool deal.
I made some sour.
Nate, I'm not a mod on your channel, Nate.
Well, did I have you as a mod on my other channel, Mel?
No.
Yeah.
I didn't. Let me take a look what I can do, bro.
Mel, you modded up on my channel. I got you. So, but met my 3:30. So, in closing, starting with you, brother Mel, what's your closing statement about the topic we had tonight on how Black people spend their money? And everybody, before I go on with that, if you could spam Nate Dogg 74 in. I did it one time. He's going to be broadcasting tomorrow and Sunday. Get him in there. You gotta help him get his numbers back up.
Yes, sir.
Don't forget, spam them. Everybody in my chat, all you with wrenches. So, but in closing, what do you have to say, brother Mel? And thank you for coming up to my panel again. Screw the Democratic Party. That's what Latin paper. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead, brother Mel. Yep. Brother Mel.
Mel, you there?
You there? You there?
Yeah.
You there, brother Mel?
I think he's having some audio issues.
Oh,
Yeah. We're at the looking for your closing statement. Since I'm gonna go ahead and end this stream, I'm at 3:30 right now.
Mm. I think he's having some audio issues, man.
We'll come back to him, but yeah, we just need to vote them out, and also let me before I go, let me get the cash apps to see if I got let me see if I got them. Yeah, all right. Shout out to Latin Patriot for the $3 cash app.
Salute.
Salute. Yeah. Also, shout out $1 cash app from, of course, actually $21 from my sweet chocolate. 21 bucks. Let me go.
Yeah,
Let me go reply to that. I got to get a little quicker on it. She reminded me. Sometimes, Nate, I get some. I try not to forget, but it happens. Shout out to you, and and brother Nate. Don't forget to pick yours up.
Absolutely.
Don't forget to pick yours. You got $40. You got $40 to pick up from me. $40.
Understood. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, I got to go through them. I chronicle. I put them in a Excel spreadsheet, and that's when I respond.
We talked about some Excel. Yeah, I've been using that as well. And we were talking about that. Some people don't know what Excel is, but I love Excel. What about you, bro?
Yeah, for what it's good for, absolutely. Look, keeps me from having to add and subtract all the shit. So,
oh yeah, I do it. But well, it's you and me, and just want everybody again. Little Big Nate is under Nate Dogg 74. He's broadcasting tomorrow. Support him. Brother Mel, thank you for coming on the panel. And it's the other way around, and tomorrow it could be the other way around, where I'm usually on Brother Nate's panel. Nate, you're closing, brother.
No problem, man. Appreciate it. Good to be back. I think this is my first time back on your platform since taking some time off. And congratulations on the 2K. Salute. Awesome.
We're gonna bring yours back up too. I'm gonna do my best to help.
I appreciate that, man.
Deserve it.
I've got some strategies I'm going to employ. I think I'm hoping by the end of March to be hopefully at around 3K.
You'll pick it up.
Appreciate that. And I unfortunately I don't have a lot of hope for us collectively.
I don't either.
If you're looking to move the entirety of the Black community one way or another, I personally wouldn't waste time doing that. Just get together with like-minded men and women, and let's see what we can accomplish. And then any Black people that see us from afar and see our success and want to be a part of it, as long as they're willing to take on our way of thinking and our way of doing things, engaging in this American experiment and taking advantage of it, and they'll be welcome. But we're not adapting to this failed way of thinking that unfortunately a lot of Black people have. We need to be taking advantage. This is our country. We absolutely need to be taking advantage of living here and taking advantage of all its opportunities, despite who likes it or who doesn't. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
And man, that's it. That is it, man. I appreciate you letting me up, sir.
I appreciate it. And brother Nate, I'm always and might need to write a moniker or something up. Like-minded men.
Yes, sir.
Period. We're not like-minded. It's never going to work.
Absolutely.
I found that out on my panel. I did. I found that out.
Had some problematic folks.
I had a couple, yes. And just like you did, and there's some good brothers out there, but if you're going to be disagreeable just to be disagreeable, and then when you get off topic, then you start bringing the conscious pro-blackism, and I'm arguing against it, and I'm bringing my facts, well, I can't have you on my panel. That's why the lefties, just like you said in your comment, they get kicked off our panels.
I've never seen a conservative or right-leaning brother get kicked off a panel. I've never seen it. Never seen it. Almost exclusively, these dudes are from the left.
Because we're not emotional.
That emotionalism, and they just lose it.
They do. And they're not grown up yet. Too much mommyism.
Absolutely. And, some of these niggas are older than us.
Unfortunately, yeah. That I'm really taken back from that. Older than, and I'm almost 60, 3 years.
Absolutely.
You're almost 50. So and when you got individuals who are in the 50s, 60s, and 70s acting like that, no hope. We got to be the ones to pass down our information.
Absolutely.
I'm going to keep on doing it.
Absolutely. Well, man, I appreciate it, bro.
Hey, I appreciate it. And again, shout out to brother Little Big Nate. He's streaming tomorrow and Sunday. Absolutely. Be there or be square.
You tell Miss Tommy Jean I said hello, sir. Appreciate that.
Nate said hello. Yeah, she said hello.
Tell her thank you, man. Salute.
Salute, brother. All right. And again, shout out to the panel. Thank you all for coming to my channel tonight. I like broadcasting on Fridays. I don't have to get up and go to work tomorrow. But we had an interesting topic. Talked about where Black people spend their money. And I'm going to go to the poll. I'm going to go to the poll right now. Do Blacks think about the future or live for the moment when it comes to money? Now, this was a two-part question. Now, I'm going to say this. Out of 25 votes, do Blacks live for the future? I'm going to say 60% said no. 40% said yes. Now, do they live for the moment? I'm going to really flip that. I'm going to say 60% said yes and 40% said no. And I said that because when it comes to most Blacks, we spend our money on tangible items, but we don't invest. We may have equity if we have houses, but for the most part, we're buying a bunch of, I'm going to use an old word, buying a bunch of bling. Many of us seen all these rappers with these gold chains and making it rain. Well, that's not going to get it done. If you want power, you have to have economics. And unfortunately, here on my channel, shout out to Little Big Nate, Melly Mel, Citizen Lou, Free Zone Lou, all the brothers who come to this channel, we have something in common. We're not a victim. We don't worship. We're not prejudiced, but we're not inferior to the white man. And I will say this. If you want to make money out here, don't be influenced by the wrong people. You can make money. You don't need a college degree to make money. God gives us all a skill. You have to be able to utilize that skill and grow in that skill. Certainly, you may have to work for somebody for a few years of your life. Learn everything about how an organization runs and build your own organization. Having a business is one that you have employees working for you. Certainly, you can be self-employed. But if you want to generate more and more wealth for yourself, you need an organization, people you can trust. Two people you don't bring in with you when it comes to business. Do not bring in friends or do not bring in family. They're your liabilities. They will steal from you. They will shame you. But in the end, when it comes to wealth, black people have money, but they don't have wealth. So if they want to have power, they're going to have to utilize investing, because if black people don't utilize the power of investing, we're always going to be consumers. And a consumer is always broke. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube. If you like what I just presented, please comment, share, and subscribe. And also check out the QCIS channel, formerly the Mind of STEM channel. The QCIS channel is your road to STEM. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and of course, math. And on that channel, I talk about industrial engineering, quality control, etymology, and of course, calculus. Now, if you cannot find me on YouTube, you can find the 401 Talk Zone radio show on Twitter. Now, I don't use Parler or MeWe anymore, so I just use Twitter. And for the QCIS channel, formerly the Mind of STEM channel, you can find me on Twitter and LinkedIn. Now, I changed the Mind of STEM channel to the QCIS channel because I was going to run into copyright issues with the logo. Now, the QCIS logo that you see up there is my business name, Quality Control Inspection Services. That logo is my logo that I created, and it is trademarked. If you go on my website, you'll see the R inscribed in a circle. So the same content is on a QCIS channel, but it's under QCIS instead of Mind of STEM. And at the end of the day, I'm going to leave you with this. Be blessed for what you have. Don't worry about what you don't have. Always know that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. And for individuals who might be offended at some of this content that I present, well, if I'm not talking to you, I'll say this to you. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. But if the shoe fits, wear it. If you don't like the shoe, change it. Once again, thank you for listening to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. I want you all to have a wonderful and gracious evening. God bless you. I'm out.